Central midfield as Alexander-Arnold and Rice, but it'll be interesting to see if Lewis moves in there. Saka, Foden and Grealish, and Watkins up front. Saka, who scored a hat-trick at Old Trafford when the sides met in June and England won 7-0. And North Macedonia's team, Dimitrievski's the goalkeeper, Manev, Serafimov and Musliu, the three central defenders. Then across the middle, Dimoski on the right, Alioski on the left, Alimi and Atanasov, the captain Bardi, and then Elmas of Napoli and the number 9 Miovski. One of the great hopes and favourites of North Macedonia football, Alexander Trajkovski, is not involved. He's out injured. So the game begins. England kick off here. Final match in the group. England, who have won 6 matches out of 7 played. The other match, the draw away to Ukraine in Poland earlier this season. And England want to finish off in style. Rob Green.
Want to finish off with a performance, you're right, John, and just nip everything from Friday night, the question marks over what was happening and what didn't happen on Friday night in terms of the performance. They want to answer all those and move on, tick every box and move on from it tonight. Started with comfortable possession on the ball. Rico Lewis getting his first touch and being pushed over. He's actually already come inverted, coming very high into a central midfield position. So there's one of the question marks about what we thought tactically might happen.
Well, there is the instant answer, and Gareth Southgate did say he wanted to see 1 or 2 things. Well, that's one of them, quite clearly. Rico Lewis stepping into midfield, 18 years old, 19 next week, but the youngest man in this squad, and he was shoved over. The first thing that happened to him, Isnik Alimi pushed him over and won a free kick 10 yards inside his own half. Early signs of this relayed pitch. Anything caught your eye yet?
No gremlins as yet, but it's fast. You know, it's going to be a firm pitch that you hope it's going to be one that the players can play the quick balls on, the progressive football, because North Macedonia aren't pressing, they're going to sit back, so when it gets into those key areas in the final third, you need the quick passes, the quick lays, you just need that true pass. Hopefully that'll happen for England tonight. I'll be interested to see down this England right. Saka cause real problems. He's up against Alioski, former Leeds player, not a defender by heart.
And here he is, Saka, on cue, plays it across centrally to Rice. Rice to the edge of the box, just manages to stab it to Grealish on the left-hand side. Rice back to Grealish near the byline, ball comes across, chance at the near post for Watkins, and it was blocked. There was an outstretched leg in there. That was a last-ditch block from the central defender to deflect it wide of the near post, but that, for all the world, looked as though England were going to find a way through in the 3rd minute of the match.
Yeah,
corner though.
Brilliant opening, brilliant one-touch football, and that's the way to cut North Macedonia open. They really suffer when you get to the byline and you look for cutbacks. England look to be on key early doors.
So it's a corner for England from the left-hand side. England have packed the 6-yard box here. There are 3 players in the 6-yard box. Declan Rice is there, Saka at the near post, and Mark Gay as well. Ball is played in, flicked by Rice, it bounces out. Lewis with a chance on his left foot, but he rather snatched at that. 3 minutes into his international debut, very much the slot machine eyes, I think, went on Rico Lewis there, as it suddenly, in the twinkling of an eye, dawned on him he might actually score a goal in the 3rd minute of his debut, but he slashed the shot well wide and high onto the blue athletics track behind the goal.
Stuff of dreams, that moment, wasn't it? And it just, I think if anything, it took too long to get to him, and he had a moment to think about it, and on his weaker foot, bobbling on a hard pitch. Let's be kind to him 3 minutes into his debut.
Yes, Macedonia attack down the left-hand side for the first time. It is Elmas of Napoli, as you'll gather, one of the danger men, very much a big part of their winning of the Italian league title last season for the first time in 33 years. It's played across from left to right by Atanasov, who scored both goals, his first international goals against Italy in Rome on Friday night in the 5-2 defeat. And Atanasov plays it forward right-footed, but that's headed down and away by Gay. And England should clear. Grealish draws the foul, as he does so well. There were 2 men either side of him, and Grealish went down under the challenge, and it's a free kick for Gareth Southgate's side, halfway inside their own half. So 0-0, North Macedonia against England. Northern Ireland are underway against Denmark, and Denmark are one of the teams who have a very, very outside chance of pipping England to a place in pot 1 for the draw. But a point for England tonight will make absolutely certain of it. There is only one place left in that pot, that first pot of seeds for the draw. Germany there as the hosts. Portugal, France, Spain and Belgium are already confirmed. But England, it'll be England, Denmark or Turkey, but as I say, almost certainly England. Here's Grealish, back to Rice, 10 yards inside the Macedonia half. England, white shirts tonight with those blue flashes on the shoulders, and that's an error by Declan Rice, who took his eye off the ball. I'm not sure if there was a bobble, I'm not sure there was. I think he just missed it, and it was out for a throw.
Yeah, we've all been there. You look at the pitch, there was no gremlins in that one.
As Pickford, the England goalkeeper, comes well out of his penalty area and left-footed puts it out of play near the halfway line. Yeah, that's you don't want that to happen to you at any level of football. Declan Rice winning his 48th cap tonight. So Macedonia take the throw, and it's deflected out of play actually for an England throw on the halfway line. England unbeaten this year, unbeaten since the World Cup, and that is 1-8. Drawn 1 of the 9 matches that they've played in 2023. But it's the manner of the performance. That's what Gareth Southgate wants to get right tonight. As the ball is intercepted by Dimoski, the right wing-back. The challenge came in, and the boos are because the referee, who's from Slovakia, Filip Glova, has given England the throw, not Macedonia.
Well, you're looking at North Macedonia, and they're so narrow defensively in the midfield and as strikers. They don't want Trent Alexander-Arnold getting on the ball, Phil Foden getting on the ball. So when he did cut it out, he was so isolated on his own. He had nowhere to go, really. So you're looking for it on an England perspective. Trent Alexander on the ball, he's going to have to come way out of midfield to try and even dictate, because it's so tight in there. Philip Foden now on it. He's got 3-4 players around him.
Foden, who's playing centrally tonight,
yeah.
Rob.
Yeah, they've got to just get it wide and use the overload, because they've got the wing-backs and the wingers, the full-backs and the wingers. They can use the overloads. They did that after 3 minutes and got that opportunity. Yeah,
Foden, who had all of those players around him, managed to push the ball out to Saka, but it was overhit and it's out of play for a throw-in. Another throw-in now for England. 0-0, very early stages. And Ollie Watkins up front, Harry Kane on the bench tonight. So this is the first time that Ollie Watkins has started for England in a competitive match. It's his 10th cap tonight, only his 3rd start, and he has actually scored in his previous 2 starts, including the friendly against Australia last month. And of course he's in very good form with Unai Emery's Aston Villa. So Watkins, who has had a chance already in the match, as the ball is played back to Dimitrievski, the goalkeeper, the Macedonian goalkeeper, all in yellow, headed forward by Harry Maguire, comes back to the halfway line, and then it's chested back and the ball is driven forward, but Pickford will deal with that, and it bounces through into the gloves of the England goalkeeper. So let's find out how things have started for Northern Ireland against Denmark, who've already qualified. Northern Ireland can't, of course, finish in the top 2 in that group. John Southall.
Good evening, John. It's Northern Ireland 0, Denmark 0, but the first chance of the game for Northern Ireland. Dion Charles on the left of the area struck it well, and the ball ricocheted off the right post. Northern Ireland 0, Denmark 0.
And there are 4 more places to be decided tonight and tomorrow for the Euros from the groups, and there's some big games tonight. Ukraine and Italy, one of those 2 will finish second as England bring it forward with Foden to Saka on the right-hand side. Saka booed for the hat-trick that he scored at Old Trafford against Macedonia, the first hat-trick of his professional career. Saka forced to go back towards Maguire nearer the halfway line. Now back to Foden on the right-hand side, wearing number 8 on his back tonight, Phil Foden. Rico Lewis picked Phil Foden out as one of the players that he's closest to at Manchester City, and likewise as well Kyle Walker. So how settling for him that he's got 2 of his closest clubmates in the international team for his debut. Now here is Walker towards the byline, a deep cross. Grealish is able to take it down, another of the Manchester City men, and then beats the defender. Grealish with a little ball into Saka, but across stepped out Serafimov, who was able to clear it out towards the far side. But Lewis has won it back, very quickly. Lewis Now on the left-hand side, Grealish looks one way, taps the ball out towards the left-hand side to Rice, comes back to Alexander-Arnold, square again to Foden, just forward of the centre circle, and then back to Maguire nearer the halfway line. Still 0-0, very early stages, almost 10 minutes played here in North Macedonia, and Alexander-Arnold tries to pick out one of those long high passes. He was looking for the run of Walker. It was headed away by Alioski, but comes out to Saka. Bukayo Saka came on as a substitute against Malta on Friday night, and Maguire goes back to mark Gay, who just takes a touch of the ball, works it to the left-hand side to Declan Rice, now further left to Grealish. Grealish up against Dimoski, comes back up the line, plays it infield to Foden. Grealish has actually collided there, I see, with one of the Macedonian players, and Grealish has stayed down. It was after the ball was played away, Rob, and they just sort of clattered into one another.
Yeah, Elimi, he didn't want to track him. There was no making sure of that, just stepped across him. There's no great force in it, just a little body check, but going wide and then coming back in. There's the option for England. North Macedonia have got a real problem in they're having to commit so many bodies back towards their own goal. When they do go to clear it, it's just coming straight back to the English defence. They can recycle and go again. It looks very, very comfortable for England right now.
Out of play for a throw-in to Macedonia. Looks like Grealish is okay. Didn't need any treatment. I think it was the way that Halimi fell on him, but he's okay, and the throw-in is taken. Yeah, so 4 more places to be decided tonight and tomorrow in the finals. So Slovenia against Kazakhstan is a very important game. One of those two will finish second behind Denmark in the Northern Ireland group, and also Czech Republic, Czechia against Moldova to go through with Albania, and Czech and Moldova playing one another tonight. So we'll keep you up to date with those scores as well. But 0-0 here in Skopje on this cold night. It just doesn't it have that alpine feel, and there is a real edge in the air here. A cold night with Maguire in possession inside his own penalty area, walks it forward inside his own half, walks it forward into the centre circle. Lewis, very advanced position. Now Gay takes it forward. Walker comes across into the centre circle, points Maguire to give it to the right-hand side to the number 10 again, Alexander-Arnold, starting as he did against Malta at Wembley. Then Walker, back to Saka. Saka, who is very closely watched by Alioski, and the ball runs back into the England half.
Just having a little chat with Alioski there. He kicked him after the ball and gone. What are you doing? Leave me alone.
Alioski, who was very, very briefly a teammate of yours at Leeds United.
Yep, he arrived, I left. I'm not sure they were related.
And now he's in Saudi Arabia, having been at Fenerbahce on loan last season, as Lewis plays it back to Maguire in the centre circle. Patient stuff from England. The ball is worked out here to the right-hand side to Walker, who is closed down by Elmas, so has to find Jordan Pickford, who started all of the qualifiers, Jordan Pickford. So Johnston and Ramsdale among the substitutes again tonight. Long ball forward through the middle for Watkins to chase towards the edge of the penalty area. Touches it out to Saka, who's in the full-back position. Saka then comes in. He's on his left foot, trying to find that position to shoot, which he does, into the body of Serafimov, and it bounces away. But back to England and Foden. And then all the way back to Maguire, nearer the halfway line. Well, Macedonia should be well aware of Bukayo Saka and what he can do cutting in from the right-hand side.
Absolutely, and did this on Friday against Italy. They get the bodies back, they get the numbers back, but then they don't defend. They stand there and say, oh, we're all back, we're okay. But actually, you've got to get someone to defend, and that's where they suffered against Italy. And there, they just allow Saka to come inside. You do that at your peril.
They've conceded goals in 6 of the 7 matches. Kept the clean sheet in just one of the games against the bottom team, Malta. Here's Rice, who economically just sweeps the ball right-footed out to the left. Grealish, lovely ball. Lewis took a touch off the defender, but Lewis was onto it, then gives it to Foden inside the box. This is all Manchester City over there. Foden and Grealish and Lewis together. It's Grealish at the moment with the ball at his feet. Then comes back to Rice of Arsenal, onto his right foot, shoots, hits the post, the far post, as it bounced against it, comes back out into the penalty area, and Alioski was very grateful that it bounced to him and he was able to clear.
Really well worked by England, and Declan Rice again, an England player given too much time and space, walked it up to the penalty area, wider than his chance on Friday night. Not as clean a strike, but had enough on it, a couple of bounces off the foot of the post, and that's a real warning sign for North Macedonia, encouragement for England that they keep doing the same thing here, keep moving it. They've got the players, they've got the options. It's a matter of time before they create more chances.
Yeah, it's got more of a zip about it tonight, the England performance in these early stages. Almost 15 minutes play, and then it's Grealish, and then back to Foden, who swings it in. Watkins! Oh, what a chance, and he's headed it down into the ground and across the 6-yard box, and that should have been 1-0, and that should have been Watkins on the score sheet.
Yeah, another huge chance, just one that in international football you're saying you've got to take those. A free header at the far post. They're playing 3 centre-halves. There's no one anywhere near him. Phil Foden put in a great cross. Didn't actually have to jump that high, but didn't get any power into it.
What a miss that is. And when that backup position to Harry Kane is very much up for grabs, you've got to grab chances like that.
International football, that's immediately what you think of. What would have Harry Kane done there? You'd have been walking back to the centre circle.
North Macedonia 0, England 0, but Rice has hit the post, and Watkins has missed a sitter really with the header. Ball up towards the halfway line. Miofsky heads it infield, but actually Miofsky was in an offside position. Good start from England though, apart from the fact that they haven't been able to score a goal yet.
Well, they've created more, I think, in these opening 15 minutes than a long time on Friday night, despite the own goal early doors. And it does look sharp. There's movement off the ball, there's options.
Saka is upended, and the referee very quickly across and actually pulls out a yellow card, and you can hear the reaction to that because it's one of the big home favourites, Elmas, who is shown it for that firm challenge on Saka. I was only talking to Declan Rice last night about his Arsenal teammate Saka and some of the treatment that he's come in for with Arsenal this season, and now he's getting it with England.
Well, they didn't have to do much homework on it, did they, really, to know that he's a danger man, and it was really good from Saka. He's got the wrong man, the referee. Elmas didn't foul him, it wasn't him.
Unless it was something Elmas said in the aftermath of that.
Yeah.
Anyway, it is Elmas who was booked, but it was Atanasov who actually tripped Saka. Free kick then for England on the right-hand side. Saka's okay, back up on his feet, and Alexander-Arnold and Foden talking to one another. They'll be playing against each other, won't they, on Saturday, 12:30 kick-off in the Premier League, when it is Manchester City against Liverpool. You'll hear coverage of that on 5 Live. But here's Alexander-Arnold curling it in, looking for Maguire. There was a slip in there. Maguire's claiming that he was pulled over, but actually the flag was up for offside, and it's a free kick, Macedonia 0-0.
Right. A tight call. They do suffer from set pieces as well. I don't think he was offside, was he? Oh, there was on the far side.
It was him.
Yeah. Well, it's a good call by the referee, but again, going back to the game on Friday night, they suffered at set pieces. They're packing numbers again. They're sort of after you, Claude, just allowing someone else to try and make the challenge.
This is 5 Live. Listen as well on BBC Sounds to all of BBC Radio on the move, as the ball is played downfield and Walker is wrestling with Elmas, and the final touch, says the Slovakian official, was off Elmas, and it's a throw into England. And again, you can hear how that's gone down. Around about 27,000 inside the stadium tonight, which holds over 30,000. It's a little faded. It did host the UEFA Super Cup a few years ago when Real Madrid played Manchester United, as Alexander-Arnold heads it towards the halfway line, and it's played out towards the right by Manev, but there's no one there in red for North Macedonia, and Lewis can allow the ball to bounce against the advertising hoardings, and England can start again from deep inside their own half. The England fans are in splendid isolation, really, in the curving stand to our left. Around about 2,500 of them, most of whom will have made the 10-minute walk or so along the river Vardar to the ground, which is right next to the river, which is behind us. Free kick, foul on Walker, and that is Atanasov again, who has committed that foul. Free kick to England though. Referee says England have to take it from the right place, which they do, just tapped short. Forward from Alexander-Arnold, here's Foden. Now to Saka on the right-hand side. England still looking for the breakthrough. Rice has hit the post. Watkins had a very good chance. Rice clips it out straight out of play. That's a poor pass. And he hangs his head, and it's a throw into Macedonia.
No, that shake of the head and a look at the pitch again, and I think there's just a time and a place. And Matthew Upson was saying before the game, keep it simple at times. I think there it's the occasion of let's not try and force it. You're facing the wrong way. He's trying to force a pass. It's just not the surface for that at times. North Macedonia are trying to force it, and they're just trying to force it every time, just trying to get 2-3 passes together. They can't do that really now from England. I think England know that they're the better team. They look more assured than they did on Friday night. They're on the front foot. It looks very confident.
So Rob Green, England goalkeeper, with us here in Skopje. Matt Upson watching from back in the UK, and we'll have more from Matt at half-time, and indeed all the way through until 10:30 tonight. Here is Saka on the right-hand side. He's been tripped by Alioski as he was running back and away from goal, and he's gone down. Whether he just got his Achilles stood on, perhaps, just maybe the top of his foot. He's gone down, and he made it look like that was a sore one, and it's a free kick to England.
Yeah, this is more sort of just by numbers, the amount of fouls that North Macedonia are making. It's just stilted England a little bit in the last few moments.
So they go back to Maguire, Harry Maguire, winning his 62nd cap tonight. You can certainly put him into your list of probables. Now he's back in the Manchester United team. They go to Everton at the weekend. That'll be an interesting. That's one of our commentaries on 5 Live this weekend. Grealish he's upended over there on the far side by Dimoski. That's another free kick. The match littered with fouls in these early stages. Back to Grealish it is on the far side. Grealish taking on Alimi and going past him, and then playing it infield towards Lewis in a very advanced position, the debutant. Rice now to the left-hand side to Foden, who's out there as well. Foden goes on a weaving run towards the byline, looks to cross it, defender slides in, Dimoski, and concedes a corner away over on that far side.
Yeah, Phil Foden, he's drifting now. He realised, I think, at times that it's so tight in there, the overload is out wide. It's a bit Manchester City-esque performance in some regards, that they're trying to find that option, that combination on the angle out wide.
Corner then from the left-hand side. Foden waiting to take this, standing up the touchline. So a very acute angle as he comes in and plays it across towards the edge of the penalty area, where it's volleyed away downfield by Alioski, but tidied up by Kyle Walker, who just knocks it all the way back to Pickford, who's standing well out of the penalty area, and then he hits one of those long passes towards Watkins. Watkins wasn't able to get the ball under control as it dropped from great height, but is able to give it back to Saka. Saka turns one way, then sets off down into the full-back position again, up against Alioski, who's backpedaling. Saka back onto his left foot, curling it in towards the back post. That's cleared away by Dimoski, but it comes out to the white shirts of England again, and Maguire again actually will turn it all the way back to Pickford. We're 5 Live Sport till 10 o'clock tonight, actually, not 10:30, so Colin Murray will be on air at 10 o'clock, but we will have all of the reaction. Oh, given away by Maguire, that was careless. Miovski with a chance through the middle, gives it to Elmas, chance from the angle, and then Maguire leans in on him, and Elmas throws himself down in an attempt to win the penalty, and referee Glover was very quick to get himself to the scene of that. He was less than 10 yards away, and the referee immediately said, absolutely not, that is a goal kick.
Well, I tell you what, this could be close, because Harry Maguire falls, he trips, he waves his finger, and he's completely out of control. There's no actual tackle in it, but he's out of control of his body, and he falls into Elmas. They're carrying on playing, so the review's been done, but it was fortunate on a number of counts because he got away with the pass. Then it is the pitch, he does stumble on the pitch, it isn't great, I'll give him that, but he's completely out of control of his body then. Elmas realised and went down. England didn't get one on Friday night. Perhaps that's retribution in some regards.
Well, VAR did have a look very quickly. It came up on our screen here, and they dealt with that extremely quickly. I think that probably comes into the clear and obvious error.
Yeah. Yeah, it wasn't an obvious error, it was a subjective call.
Yeah, and very, very quick decision not to give the penalty. But you, Rob, you clearly feel that he had a case. But now Macedonia come forward with Musliu down the right. Musliu against Walker, who stood up next to him. And in all honesty, I'm not sure there was a great deal in that. And the referee's given the free kick to Macedonia.
Well, there was less in that than there was in the penalty area a couple of moments ago. A little nudge in the back, Musliu down he goes, and they're a lot easier to give, aren't they?
Very much so when it's a free kick in the full-back position. So you can hear the jeers and the whistles. The home supporters, clearly, they're convinced that Macedonia should have had a penalty. But free kick from the next attack. And Enis Bardi, the number 10, who takes all of the free kicks. But this is effectively, it's almost like a corner from the left-hand side. Bardi of Trabzonspor in Turkey, standing with one foot in front of the other. Lots of movement inside the box. This is Macedonia's first set-piece opportunity. Whips it in over everyone. It's actually Akanasov who was closest to it, but it was just behind him, tried to adjust, couldn't get a touch, and it's behind for a goal kick, and it's still North Macedonia 0, England 0.
Stray setup by England on that free kick. There are two players on their own in the 6-yard box. And one of them was Harry Maguire, who's obviously trying to get a free run at it, but he gave everyone else so much room to run into. It was actually a really poor free kick because it actually made the job easier for Bardi, and he failed to really execute his skill. So
the only goal so far tonight in all of the qualifiers, Czechia, as they like to be known now, well, as they are known, leading Moldova by 1-0. All of the other matches 0-0. More commentary tomorrow night. Ian Dennis will be in Cardiff to bring you commentary on Wales against Turkey. Obviously Croatia, Armenia is important for Wales tomorrow night as well. And that will be right here this time tomorrow. Mark Gay from the back, from inside his own half. Long pass, but that's headed forward by Serafimov. Comes to Lewis over there on the far side with that great mop of black hair of his. Back it goes now to Harry Maguire in the central position. So you feel he was a little fortunate, Maguire, there to escape with
well,
that?
once it wasn't given, it wasn't going to get overturned because it was, you say, it wasn't a clear and obvious error. But flip that around, if it was given, it was never going to get overturned because it was just a subjective call from the ref. Now, as we said, you've seen them given for less.
But Maguire gave the ball away in the first instance there, and then might have conceded a penalty. There's been a lot of good Harry recently, but that was back to bad Harry, wasn't it?
Well, the fall was unfortunate, but the pass was unnecessary, and it was one that didn't get right. We've seen a lot of passes go right when they're trying to strike it, when they're trying to drill it. I'm not sure whether that's the pitch or not.
Foden, long pass down the left-hand side for Grealish, who lost out to Demoski, who then slipped over. Demoski plays it infield, but Watkins is onto that, but good recovery actually in the middle to clear it. But England again, Rice steps in, ball on the left-hand side with Grealish, still 0-0, 5 live from the BBC. Alexander-Arnold tried to dance his way through a couple of challenges, then went down, and Macedonia are able to bring it forward. But Gay steps in, wins the ball back for England. Lewis with a touch as well. He's impressed in the early stages, Lewis, apart from that, the one chance he had to shoot a goal. But he certainly put himself around the field. And, you know, I think the best thing you can say about him is this is very much the Lewis that we're used to seeing for Manchester City. And now here is Rice carrying the ball forward, gives it to Lewis just outside the penalty area. Then it comes back to Alexander-Arnold. Alexander-Arnold through to Lewis, but couldn't find the return pass. Gay dives in with a challenge, and Walker's going to be there unless he loses out as well. But Lewis plays it back to Maguire, who had to dive forward to head it away. And that was all very harum-scarum from England. But now they come forward again, they've settled themselves. Foden to Grealish. Grealish once more up against Demoski, takes him on, beats him, left-footed cross towards the back post. Saka stretching, couldn't get a touch on that. Does keep it in though on the right wing. Bukayo Saka, back to Walker. Kyle Walker with almost a half an hour played. The England captain tonight. Very proud moment for him, winning his 81st cap tonight. Foden playing it in, Watkins could be there, but Dimitrievski, the goalkeeper, dives down, very nearly actually let the ball slip from his grasp. But that was a, what, do we call that a quarter chance for Watkins on the stretch, couldn't get a touch.
Yeah, a yard away, it's a good run, he couldn't go any earlier, he had to stay on side, just couldn't quite get there. But again, it's the width from England. I think at times there's almost 16 players within the width of the goal, within the width of the 6-yard area, and it's so tight. That's when England, it gets a little bit frenetic, a little bit frantic. Just use the width. Gareth Southgate at half-time say to him, I'm banning you from playing in the middle in their half, because they're just cutting them open out wide.
Yeah, like they did at Old Trafford. 7-0 in June, in the warmth, and here in the chill of Skopje, it's 0-0 with half an hour played. Ball played across to Alexander-Arnold, who hit a shot, but he was under pressure. The Elmas came in as he hit the shot, and it was blocked inside the area. Here is Saka now on the right-hand side. Saka taking on Alioski, very nearly beat him, went one way, then the other. Alioski just managed to react and recover in time to get a foot in. And they will clear it away up towards Elmas, but still deep inside their defensive third. Alexander-Arnold blocks it back to Alioski near the corner flag. Watkins putting him under pressure. Then infield towards Musliu, who hits a crossfield pass out to Dimoski on the far side. But England are forcing Macedonia, putting them under pressure in possession. And actually they've won a throw-in that Grealish takes quickly. Back towards Declan Rice. Rice gets the ball under control. Forward towards Alexander-Arnold. Lewis standing now. Very, very advanced position near the edge of the Macedonian penalty area. It's almost like he's been given free rein. I mean, he's left back. He's hardly been in the left back position. And here he is again in this sort of central left-sided midfield position. Lewis gives it to Grealish. Grealish now up against Dimoski, drops his shoulder, and the way that he does, just sort of carrying the ball, played towards the edge of the box. Macedonia clear towards Gay, who has Miofsky all over him, but is able to give it to Foden, who is being tugged back there, no question. Free kick to England near the halfway line. So 0-0, North Macedonia, England. And another update from Northern Ireland, Denmark, from John Southall.
Same scoreline, Northern Ireland 0, Denmark 0, but the first chance of the game for Denmark. Palace's Joachim Andersen on the edge of the area. His shot deflected off Celtic's Matt O'Reilly, could have gone anywhere, went wide of the left-hand post. Northern Ireland 0, Denmark 0.
Saka attacking on the right wing for England, into the near post. Watkins with a touch, but that took it right across the penalty area. Grealish tried to get there, but Dimoski got there first. England again though. Lewis back to Rice. Just took a little moment to control that. He was under pressure. And now Maguire in the centre circle. Maguire across to his left to Gay. And now Grealish is able to get the ball under control. Early pass this time infield towards Lewis. Then back to Declan Rice. And then back to Gay. England absolutely dominating the possession. You know, almost all of the match has been played inside the Macedonian half.
They've had one period of possession, North Macedonia, in the England half, and that was from their own undoing, from England's perspective, and they just look so comfortable. It looks like a matter of time. It looks like when they get in the right areas, they try something, it might not work out, but then they're really good. They go, press, they win it back, let's recycle and go again.
Atanasov has fouled Lewis, so it's a free kick in the middle of the half. England, who have got plenty of options here on both sides. Saka pulls away to the right, Grealish is away over on the left, but the free kick almost right in the middle of the half. Phil Foden is standing over it. England, who've scored at least one goal in each of their last 12 internationals since the 0-0 against the USA in the group at the World Cup, which is almost a year ago. Foden takes the free kick, gets it back, plays it forward, it's deflected away across to Harry Maguire, who's up for the set piece, and he passes it to Lewis, and now Lewis to Grealish, and Grealish against Dimoski manages to win the corner with the deflection off the defender, and it's another corner to England from the left-hand side.
Phil Foden, he had the free kick central, played it short, got it back and tried to stay central. There's 8 players, Macedonian players, in the way. It's just pure maths who would say there's options elsewhere on the pitch. Sure enough, they go wide, win a corner.
And on the subject of maths, England 82% possession at the moment. 82%, a bit like your Spanish lessons. Here's a corner for England from the left, which is headed away at the near post. Back to the corner taker, Foden. Pass from 7 or 8 yards to Alexander-Arnold. Rice into the area, was looking to play it across, but was blocked. Macedonia win the ball back, but can't get it away from the edge of their own penalty area. And eventually it's played to Atanasov, who just lifts it out towards the far side to Dymowski, and actually the free kick was given to Macedonia. So 0-0, still 0-0. Just over 10 minutes to go to half-time. And Dimitrievski, the goalkeeper, hits this long free kick down the middle, but Walker was underneath that. And England have got it back inside their own half. They have committed players forward here, though, Macedonia. But really, for England, it's just been a matter of finding a way through. Watkins' header was the big chance, really. Closest they've come was the shot from Declan Rice from the angle that hit the post. But generally, the performance, Rob?
Yeah, it's an improvement. I think you can say, well...
Ball played forward by Grealish. Foden with a run down into the full-back position, just keeps it in. I think one or two Macedonian supporters feel he didn't keep it in, but I'm fairly confident he did from our excellent position here. High behind the two dugouts, away down below. Lewis back into the centre circle to Maguire and then Gay, the two central defenders together. No John Stones, of course, but you can certainly pencil him into your squad for Germany next summer. I think Mark Gay, Lewis Dunk, probably the two most likely right now, but things can change over the months to come.
He's looked assured though, hasn't he, Gay, tonight? He looks really good on the ball, really good off it, looked dominant.
Ball through aerially through the middle, bounces to Watkins, but the free kick is given actually for a foul by Grealish, and the cheers are because Watkins went for goal, and Dimitrievski made a very good save actually to push it away wide of the goal, but it was academic.
Yeah, I think a couple of years ago that would have been given as a booking for kicking the ball away, but
yes,
the argument
Robin
was...
van Persie once at the Nou Camp getting a second yellow card for doing that.
I think with the VAR checks that happen now, I think the argument was, well, I need to put it in the goal. That was Ollie Watkins' argument.
Which is a very fair argument, Rob. 0-0. Still 0-0, Northern Ireland, Denmark. Still 0-0, Ukraine, Italy and Leverkusen. Macedonia coming forward, the ball lifted into the area. Lewis gets up and heads it away. And there's a suggestion there that maybe he caught the Macedonian number 9, Miovski, with an arm inside the penalty area, and he has gone down clutching his face, but Lewis was jumping for the ball. Play continues in the centre circle. Miovski has stayed down inside the England penalty area. So Macedonia with a man down on the edge of Pickford's 6-yard box. And Macedonia attacking, but Elmas can't get the ball under control. And the referee's saying, hang on a moment, we might just have a look at this. Well, on first view, there is a potential penalty check going on.
Well, there's nothing in it. I mean, he just goes up and heads the ball, and as you do, you jump, you raise your arms, and it's unfortunate. He just catches him in the eye with his finger. There's more time spent over this one than the more probable penalty previously with Harry Maguire.
Yeah, it's he will be very, very unfortunate if that's given as a penalty.
Well, this will be ridiculous if it is.
Well, I think he is being called across, is he? The referee is being called across to the screen, and the Macedonian fans are on their feet. Yeah, there's the rectangle, and they know what this means. Well, Philip Glover, the referee, is going to have to be very strong here if the video assistant referee is recommending that he gives a penalty for this. Mikal Osenas, his fellow countryman, obviously feels that Lewis has got a case to answer here.
It's bonkers. This is unbelievable. He's gone up to head the ball, headed the ball, and his arm has gone out as he's headed the ball, and it's just a flick of the arm, really, that as you do when you jump, you raise your arms, and he's unfortunately just caught him in the eye. No one in the England team can believe this. This is an absurd situation.
Well, the referee's still looking at the screen. I can see him, here he is, he's turning around, he's got the look of a man who is about to award a penalty. He's walking back onto the pitch. The England players are there. We're waiting for the signal. He's on the pitch. Yep, penalty North Macedonia. And that is against the debutant, Rico Lewis, who is very, very unfortunate. Just a yellow card as well for Lewis for the challenge. And Kyle Walker, his clubmate, has come across. But, you know, the decision's been given.
It's rubbish. It's a rubbish decision. It's re-refereeing. It's unfortunate, nothing more. And it tarnishes what's been a really good first half for Rico Lewis. And there's nothing he can do about it. He's headed the ball. There is someone that happens to be running alongside him that he knows nothing about. The problem was that on the screen that they've started it from the contact as a still, and that's, you've then got to prove your innocence. And he's still talking to the Macedonian players, and no one can understand what's happened.
Well, listen, there's an argument to say that maybe Macedonia should have had a penalty for Maguire's challenge on Elmas that wasn't given. VAR looked at that. But this is an extremely harsh award against England and against Lewis. But the crowd are chanting the name of Bardi, Enis Bardi, the captain, who is going to take this in Macedonia. Listen to the noise here. If North Macedonia take the lead from the spot against England, you will hear about it. Jordan Pickford, very good penalty-saving record, is bouncing around on his line. Right-footed penalty from Bardi. Up he comes to the ball, and Pickford saves. Back to Bardi, and Bardi puts it in the net. Pickford diving to his left, can only parry it back to the North Macedonian captain. And from 6 yards on his right foot, he drove it into the empty net. And North Macedonia might be on for another big scalp. 1-0 against England.
That is brilliant from Pickford. It's a great save, and it's so unfortunate. He dives past it, and all he can do is parry it back down and central. And that gives Bardi the second bite. It's a really poor penalty. It's a really poor penalty decision. England have been dominant. England have been in control, and out of nothing, which has just been a ridiculous decision that has been given. That's given North Macedonia the most unlikely of leads.
However, in the home sections here, inside this stadium, they're not worrying about any of that. North Macedonia, who famously knocked Italy out of the last World Cup. They beat them in the playoffs. They won against Germany away from home in the last World Cup qualifiers. They have a record of standing up and getting results against the big teams. Drew 1-1 here against Italy in this very qualifying group. And now, having been up against it, England haven't been able to take their chances, and North Macedonia have taken theirs with the fortunate award of the penalty against Rico Lewis. 1-0 the home side lead.
Right, I was going to say it was with the first shot on target. It wasn't, the penalty was. But you look at it now and you say, well, this is a good test for England in a positive light. You're up in a hostile atmosphere.
Here's Lewis receiving it from Grealish, going between two defenders. Went to ground, then reacts Lewis, who looks like a man on a mission now, the teenager, and he was fouled out there as well. He was hacked over, really, by Dimoski, and it's a free kick to England on the left-hand side, who now look like a team in a hurry.
Yeah, brilliant reaction from Rico Lewis. Could be shell-shocked, but didn't. Made a run, got the ball, got tackled, fell over, reacted, won the ball back, then got fouled. So you're looking at a young man who's just had to, it feels like the world's been thrown against him in the game, and he's responded brilliantly. And England have to do the same here, because it's going to be a test.
It is a test. Despite the fact England will win this group, despite the fact North Macedonia will finish fourth, it's a contest. And it's a free kick. Alexander-Arnold whips it in, comes off a Macedonian head, bounces up in the air, comes out. The shot from Saka, that's blocked inside the penalty area, didn't come back to him. Macedonia had a mass of bodies in there, and they're able to get it away, and Walker runs it downfield, back to his own penalty area. He's been chased by three Macedonians, turns and wins the throw-in deep inside his own territory.
There's more atmosphere in the stadium in the last 3 minutes than there has been in the previous 40, and that was more to do with England's performance than anything else. But it's certainly brought the game to life. England have been dominant. They're going to have to find an answer now, because that really was a body blow.
It really was. North Macedonia 1, England 0. There's been a goal in one of the other important matches in terms of qualification tonight. In Northern Ireland's group, Slovenia, second in that group behind Denmark. Slovenia have taken the lead against Kazakhstan. So 1-0 Slovenia, and that would see them going to the finals with Denmark, were it to stay like that. But this result here means that England have still not yet absolutely nailed down that position in the top pot of seeds, but there's got to be a massive turnaround in goal difference. Goals scored as well benefit England massively, so I don't think we need to worry about that yet.
I won't ask you to do all the permutations.
I'll leave that until we're getting close to it being turned around, shall I? Here's Rice out to the left-hand side to Grealish. Grealish up against Dimoski, half-time approaching. England will feel very aggrieved, I'm sure, at half-time if it stays like this. We're in the 45th minute now here. That's what it says on the big scoreboards at either end of the ground. There's a big plume of cigarette smoke just blows into my face from the man in front of us. 4 minutes of added time through the middle towards Foden. Foden now working it to the right. Saka is there as well. Walker outside him. Saka plays it across to Lewis. Lewis shoots low, and Dimitrievski goes down and drops on the ball and is able to save it. But Lewis there had a chance to make amends at the other end.
Yeah, perhaps just a little bit too far out for him. Maybe just 20 yards. Didn't get it out of his feet enough, but I think everyone bar the North Macedonian fans were willing that to go in just for his sake. I think it's good from England. Phil Foden finally finding a bit of space centrally and worked it well, working that opportunity.
Yeah, I say make amends. I don't think.
No,
he's not really got anything to make amends for.
Well, the ref should score then.
The ref has to make amends as Alioski is tripped by Saka. So there's one back from Saka on Alioski. So 4 minutes of added time. Still got 3 minutes of the first half to go, and the goal scorer Enis Bardi, it's his 16th international goal. This is his 62nd appearance. That's not bad at all, is it?
No.
One of their players at the Euros, and it was Bardi as well who scored in the 1-1 against Italy. A very good free kick that was. Here's Elmas on the left-hand side. Elmas working it forward, then getting it back. Elmas has options back nearer the halfway line, turns, gives it to the left-hand side to Alioski, and then infield. This is nice from North Macedonia. They've taken confidence from taking the lead, of course, and then it's forward to Maguire, who's able to hold off Bardi and deflect and allow it to bounce behind for a goal kick. So 1-0 to North Macedonia against England. And as for Northern Ireland, Denmark, John Southall?
0-0 at half-time. One good chance for Northern Ireland early on. Dion Charles hit the right-hand post. Two good openings later in the half for Denmark. Kasper Dolberg should have done better when guiding a shot wide. And then a corner on the left-hand side came off Owen Toll. Good reflex save, though, for Conor Hazard. I think Northern Ireland will be happy to get in level at half-time. Northern Ireland 0, Denmark 0.
1-0 North Macedonia. So England are in danger of losing for the first time since the World Cup, since the quarter-final against France almost a year ago. Grealish does well on the left wing, takes it away from Dimoski, but Dimoski was able to recover, and Grealish comes back onto his right foot and plays it back to Gay. Forward from him towards Alexander-Arnold, but Macedonia have got everyone back behind the ball now for these closing moments of the first half. Saka back to Alexander-Arnold. He shoots for goal, but Dimitrievski, it was a dipping effort, but it was over his head, and he just had to leap and push it up and over the crossbar, which he did.
Just had to do that. No, it's a good save, and it's a wobbler, a dipper, a bit of movement on it from under the feet of Trent Alexander-Arnold. But again, England creating that space wide and then coming back into the centre of the pitch.
Yes, I say just. Alexander-Arnold with the outswinging corner, and then Declan Rice, as he was leaning forward, was caught on the head. The defender was in there with him. Dimitrievski is telling, it's Maguire actually, telling Maguire to get to his feet. Jack Grealish hasn't taken to that. You know, Maguire's taken a bang on the head there. Dimitrievski telling Maguire to get to his feet, suggesting there's nothing wrong with him. And England are upset about this. And now all of the players are milling around with the referee in there as well. and Maguire is now receiving treatment.
Well, it's not just that as well, it was Gahey as well. Got absolutely upended in there, trying to block him. Oh, there's not enough in it on Gahey, there's not enough on Maguire in there. It's unfortunate for both. They're checking it, as we check everything seemingly now.
Well, they're checking that, but I mean, Maguire was leaning forward right down to sort of waist height, and he was caught by the foot of Elmas, which was high, but at a normal height.
Yeah, well,
I mean, it is a penalty check.
We've seen stranger given in this game already, and
that would be a surprise.
It was more the foul on Gahey that I was looking at that
before it.
Yeah, just moments, like fraction of a second beforehand.
Not certain there was enough in that either, though, as you said. Maguire continuing to receive treatment. We're now into the 5th minute of added time at the end of the first half. And the referee just keeping an eye on him just to see where he's going. So he's walking out of the penalty area, and he's carrying the ball back towards the halfway line, but I don't think he's going to the screen, is he? No.
Not yet.
So that's... Well, at the moment, that's... Where is he going with the ball? Well, he's carrying the ball to the halfway line, and he's going to start play with a drop ball on the halfway line, because, of course, it had been cleared away after the corner, and he drops it for England. So no penalty there, which is the right decision. And that's it. That's the half-time whistle. Maguire has received treatment. He's walking off the field. Gareth Southgate walks behind him, looking rather accusingly at the 4th official, and actually Gareth Southgate shakes his head as he disappears out of sight under the roof of the yellow tunnel. Kyle Walker is still speaking to the referee, and the reason for that, if you've just switched on, is that North Macedonia are winning against England here 1-0. A penalty from Enis Bardi in the 41st minute that was given against the England debutant, the 18-year-old Rico Lewis, who with a flailing arm caught Miofsky inside the penalty area. VAR looked at it. He's very unfortunate. Rob Green.
Yeah, really unfortunate so far in the game to be 1-0 down from England, because they look confident, they look comfortable, they looked on the ball, they looked like creating options, and you say the criticism was that they hadn't scored, and then I mean, I've run out of words in my thesaurus to describe the decision for the penalty, and yeah, I think that's the only blip, which really there was nothing that Rico Lewis did anything about.
But as Rob Green says, you know, this means this is a good test for England now in North Macedonia to get something out of this match. 1-0 down at half-time. North Macedonia 1, England 0.
I genuinely, Rob, I genuinely don't understand. I just don't understand this game at the moment. I mean, Harry Maguire clatters someone and they don't look at it, and you know, I've had a brief scoot around various opinions or whatever. Most England fans, I think that was a penalty.
Yeah.
And yet they get a penalty for something that never in a million years is that a penalty.
No, and you're looking at the Harry Maguire one and you say, well, he was out of control of his body, and it was unfortunate that he fell. It was a poor ball before that. It's unfortunate he fell. But if he gave it, you go, oh, right, OK, it's his call. He didn't give it. We got away with one there. But then all I can come to in my brain is, which to understand how they've come to that decision, is that it's two people, one sat in a booth somewhere speaking to another person who's the referee on the pitch, neither of whom who've ever played football before. That's all I can come up with is an description as to why or how they come up to that decision.
But when you say that, right, when you say that must mean at any level, even me, pub footballer level, or as a kid level. I mean, that's the only way, surely.
If you ask the referee to jump in the air now, he would jump using his arms to lift them up in the air. That's all he's done. That's what he's guilty of. It's incidental. The player alongside him, Miofsky, is there. He just happened to have caught him. I cannot understand how they've come to that decision. It's re-refereeing. It's everything that's gone wrong so far with VAR in football is encapsulated in that one decision.
Matt Upson?
Yes, Chappers.
just your thoughts on that?
how on earth can VAR look at that as an obvious error? I can't understand it. Like what Greeny said, it's just no sense, no understanding of a player's position. He's not looking at Rico Lewis, he's jumping to get leverage, he heads the ball, so he wins the ball as well, and he accidentally catches him in the face. That's it, it's done. There's no other need for explanation, no need to look at it. And the fact that it's come all the way back and then gone to the screen and then not been kind of, maybe coerced, or they just feel under pressure to then give the penalty. Like what Greeny said, it's what's wrong. It's a really bad use of VAR.
And the Maguire one?
Yeah, I kind of agree. It's clumsy and looked a bit like there was enough contact to say that was a penalty, and I like the referee on the field giving the decision. Whether or not it would have been looked at again if he had have given it, but I think it could have gone either way.
I think
chose not to, and we got away with it.
You get a gut feeling, don't you, Matt, when you have a penalty decision like that, where you go, oh dear, and you got that with Harry Maguire because it was so clumsy.
Yeah,
with Rico Lewis, there was nothing. There was no feeling. You were just there going, oh, get up, get on with the game, and that was it.
The Maguire one was because he's given the ball away initially. I feel he's then feeling under pressure that he's got to make a tackle because it's going to be a goal scoring situation, and he just misread it, got his feet all caught up, and it was very cumbersome and clumsy, and there was contact. So yeah, that one for me is far more of a potential penalty than Rico Lewis. Just doesn't even fall into the bracket of what a penalty is. It's just nowhere near it. So it's a crazy decision.
I reckon if people were listening earlier and had been listening to us all the way through, John Murray probably tapped Rico Lewis on the head harder than Rico Lewis has caught the Macedonian player in the face. I mean, for all that, England have controlled without threatened, would you say?
I would say that, yeah, and I think that they've maybe not had or moved the ball quick enough for me. And we spoke before the game, didn't we, about the pitch and what these games bring. How do you get a good performance? And I genuinely believe it's just basics at a really world-class level. So it needs to be quick, it needs to be sharp, and it hasn't been that through the build-up. And I think we've then paid the price a little bit higher up the pitch because we haven't got enough space, because the ball hasn't come in quick enough, and it's all a bit congested. You're talking about a team that's not even made 100 passes, in fairness to England. It's not that easy sometimes going away from home and breaking down teams in that fashion. You've got to wear them out, but you create that by the speed of the movement of the ball. That for me has been the biggest disappointment in watching this game, and not enough shots on target. So you can have all the possession you want, but it's got to move quicker for me.
Second half on the way then. England trail by 1-0 at the break. Elsewhere, goals seen Italy and Ukraine also in the England group. Italy will qualify if they avoid defeat. Slovenia lead Kazakhstan by 1-0. They'll qualify if they avoid defeat. And Czechia will qualify if they avoid defeat by Moldova. And they lead Moldova by 1-0. 18 minutes to 9 o'clock. Time for the latest BBC News.
Listen on BBC Sounds. This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
With the latest news on 5 Live, I'm Anna Preston. The government's former chief scientific advisor, Sir Patrick Vallance, has told a COVID inquiry he'd known nothing about Rishi Sunak's Eat Out to Help Out scheme until after it had been launched. He said his advice would have been clear that the measure would spread the disease. Sir Patrick also said the former Prime Minister Boris Johnson was sometimes bamboozled by the science. The United Nations says that even if countries fulfil their current climate pledges, the world is still on track to warm by nearly 3 degrees above pre-industrial levels by the end of the century. Scientists have warned of catastrophic consequences if the planet's temperature increases further than 1.5. Inga Anderson from the UN says significant changes are needed.
Governments can't keep pledging to cut emissions under the Paris Agreement and then greenlighting huge fossil fuel projects. This is throwing the global energy transition and humanity's future into question.
4 men have been found guilty of murdering a woman in Liverpool. 28-year-old Ashley Dale was killed when a gunman opened fire in her home after a feud with her boyfriend in August last year. More than 200 people have been jailed for a total of more than 2,200 years in one of Italy's biggest anti-mafia trials for years. The case was brought to target one of the world's most dangerous criminal organisations, the Calabrian 'Ndrangheta. A farm in East Yorkshire says people are paying to spend time cuddling its cows. Getting close to cows is said to be a popular wellness trend in the US. Now people from across the UK are booking visits to Dumble Farm near Beverley for its cow cuddling sessions. Fiona Wilson runs the farm.
We give people a soft brush. Some people just stroke them. Some people give them a brush and just get cuddly with them, really. And the cows enjoy it, and everyone seems to love it and feels a real sense of quiet and peace and just getting close to those cows.
And that's the latest BBC News on 5 Live.
BBC 5 Live.
The voice of sport. Wales welcome Turkey to Cardiff for their final match of their Euro 2024 qualifying campaign. Live commentary Tuesday evening from 7:45. Euro 2024 qualifiers. Wales versus Turkey on 5 Live and BBC Sounds. This is 5 Live Sport with Mark Chapman.
On 5 Live. Listen on BBC Sounds.
North Macedonia 1, England 0 at half-time. Second half on the way. Tomorrow night, we've got full commentary of Wales' must-win qualifier at home to Turkey. They also need a favour, though. They need Croatia to fail to win at home to Armenia if they are to go through automatically. Here's Ben Davis.
We've put in some amazing performances in Cardiff over the years, and we've had some special nights there. And look, we have to be hopeful that we can do it again. We can only control what's in our control, and on the night we'll have to hope that some things go our way, but we can't give up that hope. Our job is pretty simple here. We have to win our game, and that's our focus, and whatever happens elsewhere will happen, but it's down to us first and foremost. Look, we're not the biggest country. We have probably punched above our weight for a long time, and when you do that, expectations are in front of you and people expect a lot more out of you and where you want to go. We're still in with a shout of qualification. It isn't doom and gloom just yet, and if we don't go through now, we still have a chance for a playoff, and that's down to our past success. So look, we're not panicking as a group. We've still got a chance.
BBC's Welsh football correspondent Rob Phillips is with us. Looking like a playoff, really, isn't it?
You would think so, Mark, but this group has been full of unpredictability, you have to say. And not least Turkey winning the group already, or at least qualifying first. And Croatia, it's still in the balance, but obviously it's advantage Croatia. Wales need to beat Turkey tomorrow to have a chance of gaining the second automatic qualification spot. But they also need Armenia to take points off Croatia, to deny Croatia a win in Zagreb at the same time tomorrow night. Well, Wales know all about Armenia, so you wouldn't rule that out entirely, but it's definitely advantage Croatia.
What do you think the atmosphere will be like tomorrow night?
I don't think the atmosphere will be any different to normal. You know, I've said it before on Radio 5, these games now when Wales play at home are more than just football matches. They're an event. They're an occasion for culture and passion and pride in the nation. That's how football has affected the psyche in Wales, particularly since 2016. So I don't think there'll be any doubt that the Red Wall will be in good voice. The anthem will still be stunning to listen to when they drop the music after a few bars. That really sets it up. And let's see what happens.
Talking to Ashley Williams and James McFadden on Saturday afternoon, actually, about, well, obviously the cyclical nature of sport, but actually the cyclical nature of international football. And unless you are what you would call a real tier one nation, France, England, I suppose you would throw into that, Germany, Spain, you know, getting to every tournament, and some of those have struggled from time to time. Look at the Dutch, for example. Getting to every tournament is not easy, and you have to go through these cycles every now and then. And are Wales just at that part of their cycle?
I would say what has happened is, Mark, that since 2016 and qualifying for Euro 2016, they've had this extraordinary run of success in qualifying for 2 Euros on the bounce and a World Cup, which, of course, they hadn't done since 1958. The difference is now that, easily summed up, really, post Gareth Bale, they had a stellar player who was not just the best Welsh player of his generation, for any generation, frankly, but he was a player who would stride the world stage and he would make a difference because he was Gareth Bale, as he's done for Real Madrid when he was playing there in Champions League finals. He always delivered on the big occasion when Wales needed it. And I felt in Armenia on Saturday, that was the first time really since Bale's retirement that you saw a Wales side struggle to just get over the line to make a difference. And, of course, they were also without the captain, Aaron Ramsey, as well. So I would say it's more that. It's a transition stage. If Wales could qualify during the transition, then it would be some achievement. And the fact that they're still in it probably says something, although at the start of the group, I think people thought Wales were going to qualify without having to suffer maybe the agony of tomorrow.
Rob, thank you very much. Rob Phillips, Welsh football correspondent for the BBC. Full commentary on tomorrow's 5 Live Sport. Teams are back out in North Macedonia. Here are Rob Green and John Murray.
Thanks, Mark. Welcome back to Skopje. Welcome back inside the stadium where Jordan Pickford walked out of the tunnels talking to referee Philip Glover. No substitutions at half-time, so North Macedonia, as they were, Dimitrievski in goal. As the whistle goes and the second half begins, the home side kicking off, all in red with a yellow trim, white numbers on the back. So Dimitrievski in goal, Manev, Serafimov and Musliu, the 3 central defenders. Dimoski on the right, Alioski on the left, the former Leeds man, then Alimi and Atanasov in the middle with Bardi, the goal scorer and captain, and then Elmas of Napoli and Miovski, who, in inverted commas, won the penalty conceded by Rico Lewis, as Dimitrievski clears with his right foot from inside his penalty area out to the far side. And England, as they started, with Pickford in goal, captain Walker, Maguire, Gay and Lewis, who spent most of the match really in midfield or in forward positions, but very unfortunate to concede the penalty. Alexander-Arnold and Rice, Saka, Foden, Grealish and Watkins, as England have possession at the back with Harry Maguire, and you can hear the whistles there. Even though they got the penalty, the Macedonian fans, they know they'll have watched their devices at half-time, and Maguire in possession again. They'll know the backstory as well. I think everyone in world football does, so they're giving a bit of stick, but feeling that should have been a penalty.
Well, it was a lot more likely, wasn't it?
Very.
As you're saying at half-time, that was the moment that you feared for England, because it seemed so dominant, so much in control, and then from nowhere going 1 down, and it'll be interesting to see how they react. They reacted well within the few minutes.
Here's Saka on the right-hand side for England, gets his way past Alioski into the penalty area and shoots across goal, and in the middle it's in. Jack Grealish is there in the 6-yard box, and that makes it 1-1. And England have levelled it up in the 2nd minute of the second half, and they'll feel much better about themselves after that. Created by Saka, finished by Grealish. North Macedonia 1, England 1.
Saka's got their number, and he's done it again. And it's a great response from England. Completely subdued the crowd. It's a subdued celebration from England. I think they know, really, that they should be ahead in the game. Saka rides 1, 2, 3 challenges, and they stand off him and allow him to just to feed the ball into the far post. Jack Grealish beats his man. We said in the first half, North Macedonia, they get back in numbers, but they don't make challenges, they don't stop the players. And Jack Grealish, a little bit fortunate off his back leg as he finishes, but it's a response from England, one that they wanted.
And Jack Grealish scoring from almost on the goal line, really, although there's a goal check going on. Play has not resumed yet. And is there a suggestion? I don't know, did it bounce up, as you say, potential offside leading up to the goal? That's what VAR are looking for here. So still we wait to see if this equaliser is confirmed. And I mean, the way that things have gone for England in the latter part of the first half and the start of the second, I mean, this will be another twist if this goal is ruled out.
Well, at least the computer makes this decision. We're not relying on human error.
But we are waiting, still waiting, and we're not seeing it on our screen up here in the commentary position. All we've got is the information that they are checking this. So we're not seeing the drawing of the lines, and it must be tight because it's taking as long as it is. And the referee actually is just beginning to walk. No, he says to the Macedonian players, just bear with us, bear with us. And he walks away, and he'll be talking away to the video assistant referee, Nishal Osenash, and still we wait.
Well, they've managed to make the game about them. That's the one thing. They managed to make the first half about them. They've taken, what, 2 minutes of the second half to make the game about them?
See, if we had the automated offside, yeah, we wouldn't have any of this. We'd already have the decision like it was in the World Cup. So that's coming, but it's not here yet. And still we are waiting without particularly any information. But the way the referee is walking back towards the penalty area kind of suggests to me that this is going to be ruled out, and he's now walking back towards the edge, and there he is, there's the decision, offside, goals ruled out, and Macedonia continue to lead by 1-0.
Yep, well, at least it's factual. We're yet to see anything to say that it was offside. It took an eternity, and it's right. And it took me less than a second to realise that Jack Grealish was offside. Why it took them that long, I have no idea.
Well, it's very difficult to see what the issue was there. Oh. Unless they felt that it had taken a touch off the defender, possibly, before Grealish got there. As the ball is played over the top by Foden for Grealish through the middle. Grealish with men around him, still going. Oh, and then as they dive in, Grealish went to ground, but the players, the two defenders who dived in, actually between them got the ball, and they got that cleanly, stopped it, and Grealish fell over that. So that's been dismissed.
No, it's a straight ball from Phil Foden. The game's opened up a little bit. Finally, between three of them, they eventually managed to get the tackle in. I thought Jack Grealish was going to manage to bundle his way through all of them. Again, feeling hard done by. He was offside. There might have been a question mark, as you say, as to who played the actual ball. Maybe that was the decision, but it's certainly the last touch was off Jack Grealish. He was in an offside position. But a bright 5 minutes for England.
Yep. But just to clarify, it is still North Macedonia 1, England 0. Enis Bardi, the goal scorer after Pickford saved his penalty but parried it back to Bardi, who put it in the net. So 1-0, and England facing their first defeat for almost a year. In fact, this time last year, this very day last year, we were on the eve of England's first match at the World Cup when we were in Qatar. Can you believe that's a year ago?
It was a bit warmer there.
You can say that again, with snow-capped mountains all around us here in the Macedonian capital, as the home side win a free kick halfway inside the England half. It's still Northern Ireland 0, Denmark 0, but we'll hear more on that in a moment. With the scores as they are tonight, Slovenia and Czechia are qualifying for the Euros because they're both winning their matches. It is still Ukraine 0, Italy 0, so that would be Italy qualifying with that scoreline. But a free kick for Macedonia and for Alioski. Alioski plays it left-footed, deep over everyone inside the penalty area. It bounces harmlessly through for a goal kick. And here's John Southall with the news on Northern Ireland, Denmark.
Where it remains 0-0, but really good chance for Northern Ireland. Jamal Lewis with a cross from the left-hand side. There was Owen Toll, 8 yards out. His header was inches wide. Northern Ireland 0, Denmark 0.
And in that Czechia game, where Moldova are 1-0 down, Moldova are down to 10 men in that match. England with Alexander-Arnold in the in the centre field, but he dwelt on the ball, was dispossessed, and it is Macedonia who come forward down the left with Elmas. Elmas just tapping it infield towards Alioski and towards Bardi. Back to Elmas again. Saka putting him under pressure, and Macedonia have to go back into their own half. In fact, they're being forced back by England, almost halfway inside their own territory now. But Bardi, lovely footwork, a flick from Elmas back to Bardi. Bardi volleying it forward, trying to find Miovski, but Mark Gay just stepped in, intercepted it, and England have got possession back. So England substitutes tonight. Gareth Southgate, Harry Kane's on the bench, Cole Palmer is on the bench as well, Rashford, as well as Conor Gallagher too, Calvin Phillips, Jordan Henderson, Fikayo Tomori and Ezri Konsa.
Well, Harry Kane is down on the touchline warming up on his own. Gives an indication as what might happen in the next few minutes.
You're thinking maybe last half hour for Harry Kane?
At least.
Rice turning the ball to his left to Lewis, again very, very advanced. I mean, he's really caught the eye. He's had a very, very eventful night, Lewis. Here's Grealish coming in from the left-hand side. Grealish playing it back. Another of the Manchester City treble winners, like Lewis, treble winner before he made his England debut. Ball to the right-hand side. Someone in the stands blows a whistle. That's not very helpful. Foden now, 20 yards out. Foden trying to find a position, very, very congested, up to Watkins, and then back to Foden, but so congested in there, Macedonia win it back and play towards the halfway line. A goal in the Northern Ireland-Denmark game, John Southall.
Northern Ireland have the lead. Northern Ireland 1, Denmark 0. Really well-worked goal as well. Jamal Lewis did brilliantly down the left-hand side, played in Shea Charles. He laid it across to Isaac Price on the right of the area, went underneath Kasper Schmeichel, and Northern Ireland lead Denmark by a goal to 0.
So Northern Ireland, a little bit of a glimmer for them in what's been a disappointing campaign. So we brought you commentary on the entertaining match at Hampden last night on 5 Live. Tonight we're with England, 1-0 down as they come forward towards the halfway line, and we'll be with Wales in Cardiff tomorrow night. 5 Live, the place to listen to that. Bardi for Macedonia, playing it to Alioski, and Macedonia as they come forward from left to right. England it is now, dropping back into position. Elmas drifts in. He's got support behind him again from Bardi. Back to Elmas once more, and then Bardi again, and Macedonia keeping possession inside the England half on this cold, dry night with, I can only assume it's cigarette smoke in the air, huge plumes. It's like a sort of mist, a faint mist high above the pitch. Alexander-Arnold puts in the challenge and shown a yellow card.
Yep. I think he went to take the throw-in and it wasn't his to take, and he's decided that that deserved a yellow card, the remonstration from that.
It's the way that he reacted to that, and he bounced the ball down into the ground a little bit like Ray Wilkins did many years ago at the World Cup in Mexico and got sent off.
Well, he's still not allowed to do it.
He's still not allowed to do it, even in this century. Grealish does well, chests it down, passes it forward towards Saka. Saka running away from 3-4 Macedonians, then playing the ball right across, back to Grealish. Grealish, edge of the penalty area. Again, 3 Macedonians in front of him. England are going to have to work very hard here to find a way through this Macedonian team with the 1-0 lead. Rice now, he's going on a run, comes infield. Lewis has passed the Foden in the D, out to the right-hand side now, across from Alexander-Arnold, but headed away on the edge of the 6-yard box. Rice chests it down inside the area, back to Grealish again. Grealish back to Rice, who's already hit the post with a shot in this match. Then central to Alexander-Arnold, who shoots, and that comes off one of the Macedonian players, Akanasov, in the D, which deflected it wide of goal by 5 or 6 yards for an England corner.
Yeah, it's good from England, and you're looking and all of a sudden there's little spaces appearing. You can see North Macedonia slightly beginning to tire, slightly beginning to leave gaps, not managing to get back into the shape as quick.
And England are making the change, and that's it for Ollie Watkins, who had his chance tonight, his first start in a competitive match for England. The chances, opportunities not taken. Gareth Southgate comes across, gives him a pat on the back, but that means that the number 20, Harry Kane, is onto the field. Kane with 28 goals and 6 assists in his last 31 England appearances. 28 goals and 6 assists in 31 England appearances. So he's onto the field, and the threat is obvious for Macedonia.
He's going to say something's going to happen by those averages.
You would say that, wouldn't you? Also scored in his last 3 England internationals. So a corner, in it comes, and it's glanced, headed in, and who should it be but Harry Kane? Straight onto the field, little glancing header, and there we are, 1-1.
The quickest goal ever for a substitute, maybe for England. He saw an inch, half a yard of space in front of him from the corner. He realised that the defender was sleeping. That's all he needs, is just that fraction of a second, and he went. The ball was perfect, straight into him. May have got a touch off the defender on the way in. He's claiming it. No, it is an own goal.
Is it? Let's have a look. Kane gets a touch. No, it comes off the defender. It is. It's an own goal. It's a Tanasov. And so you can take that one off. No. Harry Kane, he's not yet reached 63. It's an own goal. It's an Atanasov own goal, but it is North Macedonia 1, England 1, and for the second consecutive match, England benefit from an own goal. Not even Kane can claim that.
No, he might claim the assist, but that was, again, just that bit of movement Macedonia's struggle with. Movement from set pieces. When he got in there, he got ahead of his defender. Maybe just that clinical edge, that instinct, that's what England were missing in that first half, in this first hour.
It wasn't an exuberant Kane celebration either, was it? I think he knew. Foden plays the ball across, and it comes off the leg of the defender. It might have come off his arm as well, and that deflected it back to the goalkeeper. But the England players around there are saying that this could be a handball. I mean, he will be very, very unlucky if that's given against him. But you know, if VAR look at that and feel that has struck his arm, well, you know the rest of the story. Grealish playing it in, Kane with a touch. It's 1-1 now on 5 Live. Alexander-Arnold drives it across left footed, only half clear towards the edge of the penalty area. Foden brings it down, back to Rice on the edge of the box, then to Grealish, puts his foot on it. Grealish tried to curl it in, but it was blocked by Dimoski. Still Grealish though, back to Lewis, and then Lewis back into the centre circle.
Well, you say we couldn't see from where we are. It's just purely from the reaction of mainly Harry Kane from the players to say it did strike him on the arm. It was there.
So 1-1. Finland have scored a couple of quick goals. San Marino 0, Finland 2, but Finland are bound for the playoffs. 3 more places will be confirmed for the Euros in the playoffs in March, as Alexander-Arnold concedes a free kick down in the Macedonian left-back position. Rob Green.
Yeah, well, the atmosphere's completely changed after that goal, and England looking a lot more threatening now. Harry Kane's on the pitch, the runners in beyond are coming in. You know that you're going to get the ball back if you're going to come into his feet and play it into him. Just that little bit of belief that maybe that they lacked in the first half, that the options are there, the way to play through is there more.
Oh, that's missed by Walker. Macedonia could be in here. Elmas into the penalty area. Elmas dancing his way through. Ooh, dear me, Rice dived in there as well. Elmas kept his feet, and then there's a bit of a squaring up between Grealish and Elmas, and it's all come to nothing. It's given as an England free kick.
Oh, pull the trigger. He had the chance, eventually lost out just for the numbers. But again, England, the 2 main causes of concern so far in the game have been Harry Maguire with a sloppy pass, Kyle Walker with no touch at all. It's just an air shot for a control, and it's just been from their own undoing.
Slovenia 1, Kazakhstan 1, equaliser for Kazakhstan, but there will still be Slovenia finishing in second place in that group. Kazakhstan have got to win it. North Macedonia 1, England 1. As Alexander-Arnold curls it in, but behind Kane, comes out to Lewis. Lewis to Foden, just on the edge of the D. But Macedonia have, through sheer weight of bodies, enough to block it, and then they can't keep it in on the halfway line with Dimoski, and it's a throw-in to England. Well, you were right, Rob, when you said if that had been Kane's goal, we would have been looking at the record books, and he literally ran onto the field, got the header that resulted in the goal. And if that had been Kane's goal, we would have been scrambling around to have a look and see what was the quickest goal by an England substitute.
Gary's grateful for it being an own goal.
He could have been delving into the record books. Instead, he's delving into a packet of jelly babies. Here's Grealish down the left-hand side, but it's blocked by the defender, which has given us a goal kick. England are feeling here. And listen, England could easily have conceded a penalty in the first half for Maguire's foul, but since then, England are feeling that they're getting the rough end of everything.
Well, I'm just wondering, Jack Grealish, out of all the players, is looking the most frustrated. He just had a little square up with Elmas a couple of minutes ago, and it's just, as much as they want to put a good performance in, as much as you want to keep your players on the pitch, maybe that could be a substitution to save a red card, or any sort of later suspensions.
Yeah, if you get sent off in this match, you would be suspended for the first match in the finals, as England concede a free kick. It was Harry Kane, who is looking very innocent down there with his hands on his head. Aerial challenge on the number 6, Musliu. So it's a free kick to Macedonia. We found out tonight, since we've been sitting here, one of the big pastimes in this part of the world, smoking inside football grounds. There's an absolute fog inside this stadium. I feel like I'm high tar. I feel like I've had a high tar intake tonight. Passive smoking sitting inside the ground. I hope that was on the hazard assessment form. Here's Elmas, edge of the area, shoots from the D, but it hits Walker and spins away wide of goal. And I see Jordan Pickford down there, the goalkeeper. I think he's just a little concerned at some sloppiness from England in the second half. It's corner.
A little bit lax at times at the back. I think now that they're looking to push forward, it's almost the defending is a second thought. They're going, right, let's go forward, and when the ball comes, they're kind of forgetting about the defending bit. Didn't pick up properly there.
Corner is taken short over on the far side, comes back centrally to Elmas. Elmas receives it again, he drives it in right-footed. That's headed down and away by Harry Kane. It's England now who've got everyone back in their own defensive third of the field, and it's Macedonia in possession. And in it comes from the left, cleared away well by Rice, taken under control by Alexander-Arnold, but there's no one forward, so Foden's going to have to do this all himself, but he's making a good job of it. Takes it out towards the right-hand side, the challenge comes in on him, and Macedonia will come forward. Walker's out of position there, and Macedonia have got the freedom of the left side. Forward pass towards Miovski, but beyond him, and Pickford was able to race along the dead ball line and gather it.
Yeah, ill discipline from England, really. Just shore up, find yourself. You recognise that Phil Foden's done well on his own, but he is on his own, so he's got to come out. So control the game. They didn't do that. They bombed forward and everybody stayed out of position, and all of a sudden half the pitch is open.
North Macedonia 1, England 1. Grealish playing it in towards Rice, who's got bodies all around him. Tried to just stab it forward towards Kane. It's cleared away by Serafimov, who played it back to his goalkeeper, and then there's a foul on Miovski by Foden and a free kick to Macedonia 10 yards inside their own half. So 1-1 the score. England, who were held to a draw when we were in Wrocław, and that was a challenging night as well, on a difficult pitch there. The pitch is kind of held up, but I mean it doesn't look absolutely top level, does it?
No, it's not ideal. I think it's probably improvement on what they had.
Yes, it is, without question. As the ball bounces towards the halfway line and is out of play for a throw-in to Macedonia. So commentary on Wales-Turkey tomorrow night, live from Cardiff. And also Win the Headlines continues in the morning, 5 Live breakfast. The Wimbledon tickets were won this morning. One of the prizes will be tickets to the Euro 2024 final. Foden playing it out to the right-hand side to Saka. Saka into the box on his left foot, tried to slip a little ball through, but there were 3 men around him, and it is deflected out to the Macedonian goal scorer Bardi, who plays it up to Elimi, but Elimi is dispossessed by Declan Rice. And now Jack Grealish. Here is Harry Kane winning his 89th cap tonight. Harry Kane. Alexander-Arnold back to Walker. Kyle Walker, who I presume has he has given the captain's armband back to Harry Kane since he came onto the field. But Kyle Walker receives the ball again, gives it to Saka on the right-hand side. Saka beginning to cut infield, and then back towards Declan Rice nearer the halfway line. Gay, here is Grealish, backing away. Grealish has Rico Lewis on his left-hand side, but Grealish will carry it infield. That's where all of the congestion is, really. England would be better served looking to the wider areas. That's what is going to happen now. Foden swinging a high ball cross-field towards Lewis, who's down in the Macedonian right-back area. He plays it back towards Gay, but the referee's whistle. Was that the referee's whistle, or was that the whistle from the stands? It was, yeah.
Yeah, just gone off.
And it's out of play for a throw-in to Macedonia. So midway through the first half, it is 1-1.
Just an offside. Rico Lewis with the switch.
So apparently the goal went in 40 seconds after Kane went on. Not sure what the England record is, but Nicholas Bendtner apparently scored 6 seconds when he came on as a substitute for Arsenal against Tottenham in the Premier League.
He must have run on really slowly there, Harry Kane.
He must have done. We were still waiting for the taking of the corner. England, that's sloppy. Alexander-Arnold bounced away from him, but Maguire was there. Maguire's got to be quick into this, and then it's missed by Walker. There's some... It's become rather disjointed for England at the back.
It's lax, isn't it?
It is. Atanasov, he scored the 2 goals in Rome, goes for goal here, but a weakly head shot from 25 yards, and Pickford got a good sight on it and was just able to drop down to his right and makes the save.
Yeah, someone's got to tell them there's still a quarter of the game to go, and they only need to score 1 goal to win it. It seems like it's a rush. It's a rush to get the ball forward now. The game, North Macedonia have opened up a bit. In the first half, they barely ventured out their own half. Now they've opened up a bit and they're going for it themselves, and England are getting wrapped up in the excitement of an open game.
Looks like Czechia and their brilliant supporters will be going to Germany next summer. They're 2-0 up on Moldova now, so Moldovan hopes are fading. We will be there in Germany. 5 Live will be the place to listen to the commentaries at Euro 2024 next summer, and we'll be at the draw as well in Hamburg a week on Saturday, something like 5:30 on that Saturday afternoon. You'll hear the news. Grealish now to Lewis inside the area, pulls it across. Saka shoots on the turn, but that's blocked by, there were 2 men in front of him, and the ball bounces away out to the far side and out of play for a throw-in that Foden waits to take, which he does. Bounces it down into the ground, back to Kyle Walker. 20 minutes left. England want to finish, of course, with a win in this group. Been here twice before, England, also in European Championship qualifiers, and won them both, but both by the odd goal. 2-1 wins, 1-0 wins under Sven-Göran Eriksson and Steve McLaren's management. Here tonight under Gareth Southgate in what is his 91st match as the England manager, standing, watching in a warm coat on the edge of the area, watching his debutant, Lewis, doing well, taking it to the edge of the area. Saka, chip forward from Foden. Lewis got a touch on that. Saka's battling for it inside the box. Defender goes down. Saka pulls it across. Lewis jumps for it, but the whistle's gone. And Lewis, in frustration, thrashes the ball into the back of the net. But he knew that the whistle had gone, and it's a free kick to Macedonia, and it remains 1-1.
Now, first real sign of frustration from Rico Lewis. He's got to be careful. He's been booked, and it was barely a foul. There was not a lot in it. It was a defender's fall in the penalty area that is asking for the foul more than anything.
It's been quite scrappy, hasn't it, at times in the second half. England did have a decent flow, didn't they, early on in the match?
It just feels like that they've just scored the goal, seen that North Macedonia have opened up a bit. The options are there, the spaces are there. Let's go, 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 and it's lost that control, that real authority that they had at times. If you're little unproductive in the first half.
Alexander-Arnold under pressure, playing it back to Maguire. Do you think they've let themselves be affected by the events in the match as well, to an extent?
I think that you look at Jack Grealish, he lost his head maybe 20 minutes ago and hasn't really had much of a game since then.
As Grealish brings it forward. Cheers from the England fans, because a free kick has been given England's way, little foul on Lewis. Takes it to Grealish. Grealish actually a poor touch, that's most unlike him. England are going to make another change shortly.
Again, it's just a ball fired at him from Rico Lewis, just rushed, trying to get on with the game, trying to chase this other goal.
Maguire, long pass into the path of Saka. That's where England need to go, really. Saka has looked dangerous, but again, he's been very closely watched. Goes down under the challenge, but it was a good challenge. A clean challenge. Ball was won, and then Bardi is fouled by Kane, who puts his hands on his head. Macedonia take a quick free kick, but the referee's going to want to bring it back.
And every decision that's now being given just feels like a little nip, a little pinch at England in their temper, just waiting for someone to really get up ahead of steam. Got to watch out for themselves.
So free kick, goalkeeper's going to take this. It's actually going to be a Macedonian change. The striker Milan Ristovski is going to come on, and I think it's Miovski, the number 9, who's going to come off. He won the penalty in the first half, resulting from which Macedonia took the lead. Rice back to Maguire. So now Harry Maguire rolls it forward towards Walker. Walker gets his head down and sets off over the halfway line. Elmas chasing him. Walker checks back, gives it to Declan Rice in the centre circle. Rice upright, looking around the picture in front of him, gives it to his left. Now Kane rolling the ball forward towards the edge of the penalty area. Goalkeeper Dimitrievski comes out, and it is cleared out of play for a throw. It's going to be a double change, so yes, Miovski is coming off. And Milan Ristovski comes on to replace him. I'm not going to try and compete with that public address system. Elim.
Macedonia, player out number 9, player Miovski, and player number 18 is Galini, player in number 16, Tihomir Kostadinov, and number 19, Milan Ristovski.
So Kostadinov comes on, he plays in Poland. This is his 20th cap, comes on into the midfield. Tihomir Kostadinov.
Like-for-like swaps.
Yep.
For North Macedonia. Did your job for you there, John, didn't he?
He did, yes. Well, it's been absolutely deafening when they've played the local hits during the course of the night. So 1-1 with 15 minutes to go. If England want to finish this campaign with a win, then they need to force home their advantage in these final minutes. There's been another goal in the Northern Ireland-Denmark match. John Southall.
What about this? Northern Ireland 2, the leaders, Denmark 0. Really good play by Conor McMenamin on the left-hand side. He played it across to Dion Charles, unmarked, 10 yards out, and he gleefully tucked it in. Northern Ireland 2, Denmark 0.
Well, that's an excellent win, if it is to be a win for Northern Ireland and Michael O'Neill, after some of the disappointments they've had during the course of this campaign. England on the attack, but Macedonia were able to get it away back to the halfway line, and it is Alexander-Arnold with the ball at his feet, giving it to Foden on the right-hand side. Gareth Southgate so far just the one change that he's made, bringing on Kane for Watkins. Maguire finds Grealish, who gets the ball down, controls it with the tip of his right boot, and then back to Declan Rice. And Rice moves from left to right, but then turns back against Bardi. Here's Phil Foden now, just to the right of the centre circle. Saka comes short, but it goes back towards Declan Rice, and then to Mark Gay on the halfway line. That was passed, was short from Gay. Grealish couldn't get there. It's been taken on by Dimoski, and Dimoski advancing now, playing it over towards the left-hand side. The substitute makes himself available on the edge of the box, Ristovski. Elmas in position over on the far side, and Macedonia now have to go back towards the halfway line. England are back in position again. Into the centre circle it comes, pass through the middle, and the other substitute, the recently arrived Kostadinov, up to the right-hand side to Ristovski. Ristovski goes down in the challenge, and England are back in possession on the edge of their box.
And there's poor from Gay, one of the few passes that's given away this evening, just not enough on the ball. but England were looking, it's so condensed centrally, but then you've got so few options out wide. You're not looking at combinations out, you're looking at sole players in Saka, and Lewis is out there sometimes drifting in, Grealish drifts in, sometimes no one's out on the left-hand side. It's just got to stay patient and got to build up on the flanks and build up those combinations and get the bodies out there.
Macedonia won, England won, and the home crowd here, almost 30,000 people inside this stadium, clearly feeling that they need to try and help their team through to what would be another notable result, and an important result as well for their coach Bobby Milewski, who is almost at the end of his contract, and this would do him no harm at all. He does want to stay in the job. Saka on the right-hand side. If you get draws against Italy and England in this group, then even though they haven't qualified, Foden through the middle, Kane though is dispossessed, but he might win it back. He has. Alexander-Arnold then takes it. Alexander-Arnold's pass to Grealish. Oh, poor ball right across. Even though three men were arriving in the 6-yard box, Grealish skied it, and he knows in his disappointment he is down on his knees with his head on the ground.
Yeah, just got it wrong. It's a rare opening for England in the last 10-15 minutes, and looking how many of those are you going to get in this final 15 minutes to win the game.
Now all of the lights are coming on the phones in the stands with 10 minutes to go. Gareth Southgate talking to Steve Holland, so I suspect another change might not be far away as throwing is taken, and Kane's done well there, and he's actually won a throw. He's won a corner off Alioski. That was a cheap one.
It was so bad. They played through the corner, got it back, and just didn't bother kicking the ball, didn't try to kick a ball, and just let it roll out for a corner.
So a corner to England. Foden ready to take this. If the winner is going to come for England, it's going to come late. We're in the 80th minute. Foden takes this in. It's a deep one. Maguire under pressure at the back post. Got his head to it, but he was falling as he did so. Serafimov was there with him, and it's behind for a goal kick. Very effective this now in the home stands. All of the lights are on. I think it'll be a big night in the city centre tonight, with the England fans in there as well, who have been very evident in the city, as indeed have the Macedonian police force, who are on virtually every corner. Amazing city centre though here, with the Vardar River running through it, and the statues like you have never seen. Honestly, there is a statue on every corner. Maguire heading it forward towards Kane, and actually that's bouncing forward towards Grealish, so they've taken no chances there, and it's been lifted out of play by Manev for a throw-in, which England take. The debutant Lewis looks as though he's going to play the whole match, or at least the vast majority of it, and as I say, on a very eventful night for the Manchester City youngster. Chipped across here to the left-hand side. Again, it's Lewis to his clubmate Foden. Now Grealish again. At times, this Manchester City connection has looked good on the left, particularly at times in the first half, as Grealish is fouled. And we're going to hear the message for the England fans now. They're not going to be able to head off immediately down the river to the city centre, it would appear, being held back in after the match. But England, with the free kick, into the last 10 minutes of the match we go. So Alexander-Arnold comes across, but Foden's there as well. Macedonia holding their line on the edge of their penalty area, a line of red shirts. Harry Kane in there, Declan Rice as well. Maguire, of course, is up. And the free kick is going to be played in, left-footed by Foden, high towards the back post. Maguire heads it across, but straight into the gloves of goalkeeper Dimitrievski, who catches it in front of his face and falls forward.
The referee's given a free kick as well. Absolutely no reason for it. Harry Maguire had a free header and just jumped up and headed the ball. But again, he could have just final execution there, head it back across the goal. But you're saying about that Man City trio down this left-hand side, it has worked well at times, the times when they've actually been out there. There's other times when they've drifted away, or there's none of them have been there, and there's been so much space out there that it's just been a bit neglected out on this left-hand side.
England are going to make a triple change, actually. Marcus Rashford's coming on, Cole Palmer's going to get his second cap, and Calvin Phillips as well is going to come on. So a triple change for the final minutes as Foden wins the ball back. That was a little careless by Macedonia. Grealish inside the box on the left-hand side. I suspect he's about to be replaced by Rashford. So if he's going to affect the game, he's going to have to do it now. Grealish, who has had a goal ruled out in the second half for offside. Grealish just taps it back towards Rice behind him. Rice with Lewis, and then back to Foden. 25 yards out, curls it in towards the back post. Saka with a header, but it's wide at the far post and behind, and I think he might have pushed the defender as well. And it is Macedonia's ball. So the triple change. So first of all, yes, Trent Alexander-Arnold to be replaced by Calvin Phillips into the midfield, who comes on for his 31st cap for England. So the two flank players are coming off, Bukayo Saka and Jack Grealish. So Rashford is on. There's a cheer from some of the stands. I wouldn't be at all surprised if there were Manchester United Macedonian supporters watching Rashford come onto the field. So Rashford is on for his 59th cap, and in contrast, Cole Palmer, the Mancunian of Chelsea, now on for his second cap. Rob?
Yeah, you would say probably not enough time for Cole Palmer or Rashford to make a difference, but Saka would be one of the standout performers tonight. Or, as you say, he looked the most threatening. It's difficult to really sum up this England performance because it's just been sort of dominant, but without too many highlights in there. So it's something that Saka will look back on and say, I did okay, but even still, the end product hasn't been there.
Slovenia getting closer to a place in the finals. They're now 2-1 up on Kazakhstan. So they would qualify with that scoreline. And in Germany, it is still Ukraine 0, Italy 0. So there is the possibility. Remember what Macedonia did to Italy, scoring the late goal to knock them out of the last World Cup. There is the possibility of a late Ukrainian goal, which would put Ukraine into the finals and put Italy into the playoffs, the defending champions. But at the moment, with that scoreline, that is enough for Italy. 1-1 here as well. Kane making a run into the box. It's headed away, though, to comparative safety by Serafimov. We've got 5 minutes to play. Macedonia playing it up towards the halfway line, but Maguire gets there first for England. And it comes back to Harry Maguire, who is going to punt it back to Jordan Pickford. The ball bounces up, rather, and he had to be quick there. And he just remonstrates with Harry Maguire for the pass back to him, Rob.
Thanks, mate. I think that was involved a bouncing, bobbling ball for 5 minutes to go, and you've not touched the ball for half an hour. Jordan Pickford, not particularly grateful.
No. That's the view from the goalkeeping union, from Rob Green. We'll hear from Matt Upson as well, who is watching from back in the UK. England World Cup players both, Matt and Rob, as Macedonia make another change with the number 3, Stefan Ashkovsky, coming on to play on the right-hand side. So Dimoski is coming off. So that also is a like-for-like change for Ashkovsky, who actually doesn't have a club at the moment. He's unattached. 1-1, 5 Live and BBC Sounds. Macedonia with a throw on the far side, which they take, and England win it back, but the free kick is conceded by Kyle Walker, and Macedonia with a free kick halfway inside the England half on the left.
Yeah, needless, and it's, again, he won the ball and he got a touch on it, but Almas is always going to fall over, and you get the feeling that it's been that game where England have caused their own problems. Again, with 3 minutes to go, they give back a horrible back pass to Jordan Pickford, give away a throw, and then give away a free kick, and it just made this more awkward than it has to be.
More cigarette smoke arrives in the commentary position. Free kick for Macedonia, just taken out towards the left-hand side. Alioski took it, Almas bringing it infield, back to Alioski, left foot cross, headed over the top of the crossbar. I think it was Serafimov, the central defender, who was up for the set piece, who got his head to it in amongst a crowd of players. But over the bar, just flicked the netting. And it's a goal kick to England.
Yeah, got the time for a unchallenged ball into the box, but there's just enough bodies, enough pressure on him for not to cause a problem to Jordan Pickford. Again, it's another performance. Again, like I'm saying, just moments like that have been unnecessary for England.
There's been a lot tonight, hasn't there, that's been unsatisfactory about this. Lewis plays it to the left. Story of the match, England going 1-0 down late in the first half for a disputed, a very controversial penalty that was given by VAR for Rico Lewis's challenge. He really just caught Miofsky with an arm, with the tips of his fingers, caught him in the eye as he was jumping for the ball. Not much contact. Miofsky went down. VAR said penalty, and Bardi took it, saved by Pickford, but it bounced straight back to Bardi, who scored. And then England scoring just after Harry Kane came on as a substitute. Corner from the right-hand side that Kane got his head to, but it went in for an own goal of Yanni Akanasov. And it's been 1-1 since then. And that was in the 59th minute. Here's Rashford into the action for the first time, plays it through to Foden. Foden back to Lewis, corner of the box on the left-hand side. But Lewis dwelt on the ball, and it was won back by Ashkovsky, who's just come onto the field, but he stumbled. Rice puts in the challenge, but it's back to Bardi, who will give it to Ashkovsky. And Ashkovsky's up against Lewis, turns him one way, then the other, and Lewis then shields the ball out of play for a throw. We're in the 89th minute. Looks as though it might end in a frustrating draw, this final match of the group for England. But, I think you have to remember that it has been a successful campaign, winning at home and away against Italy. Landmark wins for England, both of them. And England qualifying with 2 matches to spare. Here's Foden through the middle, driving on, challenges from either side. The referee says yes, the second of them from Musliu was a free kick, so England with a free kick, round about 25 yards out, slightly left of centre.
It wasn't a free kick, he's won the ball. Phil Foden didn't need much of an invite to drive into that space in the centre of the pitch. There's been precious little of it in the game.
Another change, Atanasov came into the starting lineup tonight. He's going to be replaced by Agon Alesi, who plays in Croatia for Varaždin. And he was one of the players who was taken off in Rome, so Alesi comes on into the midfield, the number 17. And we are going to have 6 minutes of added time. 6 minutes for England to try and force the goal and finish this successful campaign with a victory. Free kick. Rashford likes the look of this. In fact, he's taking it from a little further out than I think it was where the offence was committed. So this is maybe a little more than 25 yards. Four-man wall. Four-man wall. Rashford stares at the ball. Rashford, just recently into the game, comes up with the free kick, hits it low, but it spins away. Bends away wide of the goal to the left. And it is a goal kick to Macedonia, and Dimitrievski's goal was not threatened by that. Full time in Belfast. What's the news, John Southall?
It's finished Northern Ireland 2, Denmark 0 after so much disappointment. What a night for Northern Ireland. They deserved it. Isaac Price with the first goal just before the hour, and Dion Charles slotted in the second from 5 yards, 9 minutes from time. So they finished with a win against the group leaders. It's 3 wins from 10 in Group H. It's been a poor campaign, but this will give them hope. Northern Ireland 2, Denmark 0.
Yeah, and that means Denmark will be in the second pot. They'll be in pot 2 for the draw in Hamburg. So it's only Turkey who are in the running, but this scoreline will put them out of the running, and England will be in pot 1. Even though they've not been able to win the match, a point will be enough. Here's Maguire in added time at the end of the match. Rice, Walker wants it on the right hand side. Kyle Walker, might be Kyle Walker, I suspect we speak to at the end of this match, having started an England international as captain for the first time. Here is the now captain again, Kane. Kane gets it back but couldn't find the pass in field, and then puts in the challenge as the ball runs away and it's clear towards the halfway line. This crowd here, there aren't many of them leaving. 1 or 2 empty white seats actually becoming obvious. Rashford overruns it out of play down in front of us, and it's a throw-in. Poor touch from Rashford.
Yep, sums up the last half hour really. since they scored. You thought England were going to build up ahead of steam. North Macedonia were going to tire. It would just be a matter of time before it became 2 and 3. But no, it's petered out, and there's been so little to really talk about in the last third of the game that it's had a very different feel from what was the start of the game, which had complete control.
Yeah, as Cole Palmer dives in, then Foden goes down. That was a bit of a clattering that he took there in the challenge from Elezi. Free kick. He's gone down and clutching his ankle. He's okay. He's on his feet. That'll be a relief for Manchester City with the Liverpool-Manchester City game coming up Saturday lunchtime. Back on his feet, just sort of limps away, but I think he's okay. Doesn't need any treatment. Free kick. Walker preparing to take this. Newcastle-Chelsea, by the way, is our 3 o'clock commentary on Saturday. Commentary as well on Brentford-Arsenal. 2 good games on Sunday. Tottenham-Aston Villa, Everton-Manchester United. You'll hear them both. Free kick taken by England. Foden lifts it forward. That's cleared away on the edge of the box. We're in the 4th minute of added time at the end of this match. Macedonia breaking down the left and winning a throw-in 15 yards inside the England half. 6 minutes of added time. We're already into the 4th of those. I think it's going to be on us even, unless we get a bit of late drama. Manev forward towards Ashkovsky, who plays it in field but gave it straight away to Gay. That's a whistle from the stands again, not the referee. Kane heads it back towards Foden, then back towards Walker on the halfway line. Walker out to the right hand side. Here is Cole Palmer, and then Palmer back into the centre circle towards Harry Maguire, and Maguire a long pass to Walker, but that was intercepted and put out of play by Musliu. We are now into the final minute of the 6th of added time. One long throw. Walker backs himself up against the advertising hoardings. Lots of stewards now in position on the blue athletics track behind the hoardings. That's how close we are to the end of the game. Walker up. Here's the long throw, hurled in but headed away by Elezi. One last chance. Calvin Phillips square towards Rice. Rice takes it on now. Powerful run. Kane just inside the penalty area, carries it back out of the box, then gives it to Rashford on the left hand side. This is the last attack. Rashford's ball across, hits the first defender, bounces down. Bardi passes it forward but out of play, and I think that'll be it. Throw into England on the halfway line.
Yeah, sums up the second half really after the goal. Yeah, just 3 poor balls into the box. Not enough quality on there. Rushed, hurried. Not really enough care, attention on the ball. It's been, after the goal, really quite disappointing, quite flat.
Yeah, in the main, it's just not been a very good game here tonight. No. And as Gareth Southgate said, it was important that England had done the job, so they didn't need, say, to win this game here tonight. The important work was done earlier. But 2 disappointing performances really in the absence of that Real Madrid man, Jude Bellingham, who seems so special and so important to England just now. Palmer back centrally, still we play on. England need to get it into the penalty area. Walker on the right. Here's the final ball in. Kane with a header, but underneath it he heads it up and over. It's a goal kick. Kane can't believe it, thinks it came off the defender, but it is a goal kick, and that will be that, I'm sure.
Well, that kind of sums up England, sums up the referee in this performance, but it's been trying to get it wide, trying to get the quality on the ball. When they've done that, they've looked dangerous. It's been too little, too infrequently in the game. They did it in the 3rd minute, and barely did it since.
Yeah, England were expected really to romp it in these 2 matches against Malta and North Macedonia, the bottom 2 in the group. So they struggled on Friday night to the win against Malta. And here in Skopje, the final whistle goes, and it's ended with a draw. North Macedonia 1, England 1. It's another feather in the cap for North Macedonia, another of their famous results. 1-1 here against England. But this result means that England are confirmed, nevertheless, in the top pot of seeds for when the draw is made for the finals. And I suspect when we get to Germany, we'll have long forgotten tonight, Rob Green.
Yep, it will be inconsequential by the end of it. I think you're looking at a performance that was started off brightly, started off positive. All of a sudden you look at the options, the movement, the players that are creating chances, and this is in the first 5-10 minutes. And then from there it really did go downhill. They had control, But in that second half, once they'd equalised after the controversial opener, there was very, very little in a positive outlook. The problems that they caused themselves were the problems that North Macedonia brought. And all in all, it's been, as you say, 2 flat games to finish the campaign with.
Yep. However, they go on unbeaten since the World Cup, unbeaten throughout 2023. That's the last match of this year, and it's finished here with England top of the group, going through, top pot of seeds, but a final score of North Macedonia 1, England 1 here in Skopje.
You're looking for a lot of silver linings there, John, aren't you? That was dull.
It was poor game, disappointing. The 2 performances, I think, you know, we say it increasingly now because Bellingham has become such a world player, so important to Real Madrid, so important to England, and I feel when Bellingham's not there, they're not the same team.
No, and it's become more and more apparent. And you look at Hampden last night, it was celebrating, having a party. I think everyone's pretty much gone home.
Italy are through. They've drawn 0-0 with Ukraine, so they go through as well. Considering there was nothing on it, Rob, England had 71% possession, and they had 2 shots on target. Their expected goals tonight was less than North Macedonia. Why not? Why not just go for it?
Well, you love XG, don't you, chappers? I think the main XG was because they had a penalty and a shot from the rebound of the penalty. That's the only XG that they got in the whole game.
I'm not that bothered about their XG. I'm more looking at our XG.
No, that was fairly evident in the game. It is a criticism that Matt brought up at half-time. It was one that after 5-10 minutes you thought, oh, this is on. They're going to create chances here. They're getting in behind. The players are looking up for it. It looks like a different side from the one that played on Friday night. And that just kind of fizzled out by the end. Again, when you saw they scored, you thought, oh, let's go, let's do this. And it became rushed, it became scrappy, it became hurried, the quality went, and it just wasn't there. So, again, you're looking at were there enough ticks in boxes, and were there questions answered for Gareth Southgate? Not particularly, not really.
Do they, Matt Upson with us as well, do they have an issue, England, with teams that sit deep and defend?
Well, it can be very difficult to break down away from home. So for me, it is a challenge. It's a different challenge. I wouldn't necessarily say that England have more trouble than what other teams would in that situation, but there's certainly a way to play against teams or in situations like this. And I just felt that we sometimes get caught up with showcasing our skills with the ball. We've got a lot of really good technical football, as you saw it on show tonight, but it's not simple enough. It's not maybe direct and decisive enough to really hurt opposition like this. And I felt that we had all the possession, some nice movement, lots of nice touches with the ball and close control and change of direction and what have you, but there wasn't quite enough flow to how England were going to play and the aggression to get into the area where it hurt. And like you just said, 2 shots on target in that game is really surprising, to be honest. I mean, it started brightly. Declan Rice had that early shot onto the post, but I wouldn't say it's necessarily a thing that just England suffer with. I think there's just a certain way of approaching these games, chappers, and it's got to be different than what that was tonight.
John, you're about to head down and get some interviews. So how do you frame this interview with Gareth Southgate when basically we're looking at 2 flat games on the back of a impressive qualifying performance?
Yeah, I guess he'll, in terms of the players who've come in, and there is a long list of players who are not available for this. I suppose he'll probably talk about Rico Lewis, the evening that he's had. He's got 90 minutes plus of international football now. I think Ollie Watkins tonight was given a big opportunity tonight as the Harry Kane backup, and it didn't really happen for him, did it? So I think from England's point of view, looking ahead towards the finals, who is going to get that role? Is Watkins going to be able to convince? Callum Wilson, Ivan Toney when he comes back into the picture, and as well, he did reference Dominic Calvert-Lewin. So what happens to him in the rest of the season might be significant as well. But listen, I think over the piece, as he said last night, the work was done, the important results were achieved earlier in this qualifying campaign, but there's no question that the two performances in these two matches have just not come up to the levels that he wants to see them, and so therefore, that's what they're going to be looking at when it comes to the games against the higher calibre opponents in those matches against Brazil and Belgium in March.
Just to tidy up the other results this evening, Albania 0, Faroe Islands 0, Czechia 3, Moldova 0, Northern Ireland 2, Denmark 0. Big win for Northern Ireland this evening. San Marino 1, Finland 2, Slovenia 2, Kazakhstan 1, Ukraine 0, Italy 0. Italy qualify along with England from that group. Northern Ireland finish 5th in their group. They were always going to finish 5th, whatever happened tonight. Denmark go through tonight. Albania have also topped their group. Albania and Czech Republic Czechia in the top 2 in that group. Are you surprised, Matt, given the need to try and find someone who will deputise for Harry Kane, that Ollie Watkins wasn't given longer, that the substitutions don't necessarily, I think for a lot of people, don't make a lot of sense?
What, to bring Harry Kane on when you need a goal?
Well, yes, but it depends how much you're looking at the bigger picture. Can you not bring Harry Kane on in a role that allows Ollie Watkins to stay on, and yet everybody else is left on with until you reach the 80th minutes? So some other players aren't given that much of a chance either.
No, I understand it. I mean, I think that Gareth would have been looking at the game thinking, well, I don't want to lose. I don't want to have a loss on our qualifying campaign. It's certainly not in this game. So the one obvious switch you make is Harry Kane. Can you bring him on in a different role? Maybe, but then you're kind of watering down the effect of bringing on the best goal scorer that you have. So I don't think he had much choice. If he was going to bring Harry Kane on, it kind of had to be in that position. And I thought Foden had some quite bright moments with his passing and with creativity. Like I could tell that he had his head on to see those passes and executed a couple of nice ones. No, they didn't come off. He nearly found Watkins early in the first half with a brilliant left-footed pass. He just couldn't quite get to it. But I kind of understood that one, to be honest. That sub makes sense for me.
I think he's seen enough. I think he's made his mind up. I think he saw Ollie Watkins and went, I tell you what, I don't think tonight it's been up to the standard that we need, and that was the decision. And you know what, if a manager makes a substitution and the player is directly involved with the goal 30 seconds later, I think that's quite a good decision, really.
Sure, well, no, and I absolutely take that point. Maybe it highlights the difficult balancing act he has had over the last couple of games of qualifying, having qualified, therefore nothing on them, and therefore trying to look at other options that he may have while still realising actually that if they'd lost to either Malta or North Macedonia, he'd be in for a pelters. It's a fine line.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's a luxurious position to be in, as we said before the game, that he can experiment in this game, and it was an experiment in there. That there is no way, if this was first game of the qualification, that Ollie Watkins would have started in front of Harry Kane. And it's interesting now that the qualifications are seen that we do qualify with games to spare. We do that regularly now, and these are the times to experiment, because the Nation League games are becoming more and more important because of the ramifications of the options that you've got from gaining points in that and the ramifications from there. So these are the ones to experiment in.
I think you're also looking at, Chappers, that I think higher up the pitch we paid a little bit of a price for not being able to move the ball quickly enough from the back. And I think these matches so depend on that. You're two centre-backs in that position, and maybe a midfield player as well.
So is Stones as big a miss as Bellingham?
Well, in terms of moving the ball quickly and playing 1 and 2 touch, I mean, I don't think it matters whether it's Stones or not. I think it's just the way that we had possession, put our foot on it, stopped, had a look, right, had another couple of seconds, then passed it. For me, that's you might as well just move it quickly, even if it's simple. Even if you're going to play the pass that you play anyway, you do it 2 seconds quicker. And whether it's Stones, Guehi, Maguire, they can all do that. It's just raising the tempo of the game, because we didn't have our player who does that for the team so well, and that's Jude Bellingham. You know, whenever he comes to the team, he brings an energy and a pace about the game, the directness that I've never seen one individual bring. So that's not there. So it needs to come more collectively. And I think that was the interesting thing from this evening and the other game, that has to be better, because we have to drive it together as a team. And I think someone like Watkins might have got the brunt end of that a little bit, because the ball's coming into you and it's just so condensed and crowded, and there wasn't much for him in that game, to be honest.
Italy, Czechia, Slovenia all gone through this evening. Their qualification sorted tonight. Italy, after that 0-0 draw with Ukraine. England go through top of their group. They will be in pot 1 for the draw, which is Saturday the 2nd of December, which we will of course be across here on 5 Live. When they eventually play their first game at the Euros next summer, Rob, and presuming everybody is fit, how many places in a starting 11 do you think are up for grabs?
After these 2 games, none more than there were before it.
Right.
I think the guys who didn't play will say thank you very much. I think you're looking at the left back. Has become apparent that, you know, one of the 2 that we have as recognised left backs need to be fit, need to be back. You're looking at, there's an option out wide on the left. I don't think Jack Grealish is nailed on, and one of those options is the attacking Saka's nailed on. And then in the centre of midfield, again, desperately keen for Calvin Phillips to get games. He likes Calvin Phillips. He's used Calvin Phillips regularly. He's got 30-odd caps now. And you're looking in that second defensive midfielder to say, OK, if Trent Alexander-Arnold against one of the teams is going to have possession and we need someone better off the ball, Calvin Phillips has got to be playing, because at the moment Conor Gallagher isn't a tick and Jordan Henderson isn't a shoe-in 8 months' time or whenever it is at the end of the season because of his professional situation.
So is that for you then? Is that Bellingham, Rice and one other as a 3, or is that Rice and the one other as a 2 with Bellingham further forward as a 10?
Wherever a Bellingham wants to do whatever he wants to do, let him go and do it. There's 10 other spots, and we're all walking on Jude Bellingham's world at the moment. Let's hope it carries on.
So it actually doesn't matter.
He played against Scotland and he picked up positions, and I know that he spoke to Gareth Southgate after the game and said, "Oh, it's interesting he played there," and he said, "Well, I didn't tell him to do that." So you know, he's doing what he's doing. He's finding answers the way he finds answers, and so he's looking at a game, going, "Okay, I'm that educated. I'm going to be go and stand here and try it here or try it there, and we'll manage to pull it off in certain respects."
I think that basically means then, Greeny, that the 2 other midfield players have to be able to identify that, don't they? And they have to be able to adjust, and even if it's mid-game and he changes and he goes wherever he feels he needs to go to make something happen. I think that's got to be the skill set of the other 2, and it's not about where does Jude fit in. It's about how do the other 2 accommodate where he wants to go and how he wants to see this game. I think he's the type of special player that you give that kind of freedom to, and I agree that for me is more of a Calvin Phillips role, and Rice and Phillips have had good success together. I mean, and Gareth shows you that he doesn't look too much at what the club is doing in terms of the performances and even not playing. There's a lot of players that come into the England team that don't play regularly, and Calvin Phillips being one of them, but that doesn't put him off picking them and maybe putting them in the team.
I think that was abundantly clear tonight as well. You're looking at players to say, right, there's a problem to solve here, work it out on the pitch. And they didn't really do that tonight. They found answers. they found answers and then didn't utilise them again or often enough. And you're saying those combinations out wide are working. Well, go do it again. And good players recognise that, go and do it time and time again and manage to execute it. And that was painfully short tonight. And that highlights where Jude Bellingham is so good.
And for you, Matt, would you agree with Rob then that it is that third midfield spot and the left-hand side that,
I think
that
the left-hand
has the question
side,
marks over it?
Yeah, absolutely. You can say that whole left-hand side. I mean, you've got Maddison's probably the most in form who's had a good couple of games, hasn't he, of late, that you'd say he's got real potential for that left-hand side. Foden, I thought he did okay tonight at times and showed his quality, and the left-back position. So for me, Trippier's a really safe pair of hands in that position. But again, there's a lot of football to be played. There's players to get back fit. It's going to be interesting, but that certainly is the side for me that is the most open.
And the other thing is the squad numbers are back down to the pre-COVID levels, aren't they? Of only 23. So that will change his thinking slightly as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that has to. You have to be more precise and understanding where you want to play players. And we've all looked at experiments going on all over the place. But with that 23 selection, you really do have to have an idea of what your solutions are in terms of formation and for different opponents, and you've got to have that nailed down even more.
Go on, Rob.
He answered my answer, so that was it. Yeah, I think you're looking at it and you're saying we can only have one or two utility players in there. We need players in positions who are ace at that position. I've got it nailed down.
Good stuff, Rob. Matt, thank you very much. Reaction from tonight. Thank you throughout the evening here on 5 Live.